Hey folks, we are here. It's me and Joel. Say hi, Joel.
Hello. Good to see everybody.
Bonjour à tous. Ici la France. Je m'appelle Hype.
How's your day going, man?
I'm going to try my best to ride the fader on some of the stream footage here. I'm doing great. Yeah, having a really great day. And got the Hermitcraft Recap done. We just saw a segment from Gemini Tay for the folks who've been watching the live stream talking about Hermitcraft and Empires. So I very briefly made a cameo on the Minecraft live stream, which was pretty cool.
Nice. That's always fun. Yeah, it's funny. I have it on in the background, of course, as you and I were just in a little bit of a pre-call. I recognized Gemini Tay's voice immediately.
Yeah.
Having done a couple of shows with her over the last year or two, yeah.
Yeah, so hopefully we're all synced up here, and we've been chatting a little bit about the mob vote ahead of time here, so have you gone in and voted, Joel, and let us know who you voted for?
I have indeed. I voted for the Sniffer, which I don't think should surprise anybody. That was where I was leaning on Monday on the podcast, and that's where I ended up. And I did a short poll yesterday during my LEGO live chat, asking many of the community that was there where they were voting or where they felt that they were voting. At that point, the vote was just open by like an hour, and grand majority, I think close to 80% was Sniffer, and then the Tuff Golem was second place, and the Rascal was a distant third in my community. Seems to be where it flows.
That seems to be overall in Twitch, Twitter, YouTube polls that I've seen a lot of people voting the same way. I think it's maybe a little bit closer between the Sniffer and the Tuff Golem, but I think a lot of younger players that we don't necessarily hear the voices of in the community because they're not old enough for a Twitter account or to watch on Twitch or anything like that, are potentially going to vote for the Rascal, and they have a much better chance of voting through this dedicated Bedrock server that they've set up. So I do think we're going to see a bit of like a more even split than we think for some of those. But then again, people are going to just as easily go in and vote for the Sniffer because they like the design, or the Tuff Golem because they want statues to build at their base, that kind of thing.
And it's easy to get some confirmation bias in our community because, like, we are a couple of adults that talk about Minecraft all the time. A lot of our community is essentially, adults or young adults that talk about Minecraft all the time and follow the show weekly, whereas there's a lot of Minecraft players, and our community is a fraction thereof, and it's also a fraction of the demographic, right? So as you were saying, like with the younger players having access to it, and I know we've mentioned this on the show before, I'm really glad that they did it with the option of like logging into a Bedrock server, or for me, I voted directly in the launcher, which I thought was really straightforward. Big images, you click on the one that you want, you click vote, and they say, congratulations, you voted for this, see you on Saturday, sort of thing. And I think that's great. I think it really keeps the voting to people that at the very least have a Minecraft account, if not play it,
Yeah, I think that's a really good thing. And it's also worth noting that there are Minecraft communities who speak all sorts of different languages all over the world. There's a huge base of Chinese players. Maybe to folks from other cultures, from non-English speaking cultures, something else is going to appeal. Maybe it reminds them of something from their own folklore and like that kind of stuff. Maybe the Rascal seems like something that will appeal to folks in Iceland who grow up hearing stories about trolls and that kind of thing. Like, I think there's potential for all kinds of different approaches to the mob vote. There's different resonance for different people all over the world.
Yeah, that's true. We don't get a lot of email from people from we get them from other countries, but they're usually English-speaking countries, or certainly where English is a second language in the country. Like not so much in a place like China or India and stuff like that. Just because I think the language barrier is just too high, maybe. I don't know the percentages of players that might be in India. I know China has a lot, but do you happen to know? Have you ever kind of heard like a stat or anything go by?
I haven't really heard stats about like demographics. I know that like my channel has gotten a huge Indian following recently as India has like grown in its love for Minecraft. So I think there's going to be a fair amount of those people. I see a certain skew towards that, maybe because of like the times I upload or the times I stream as well. Like maybe it's like the times of day that you get more people from certain parts of the world showing up, So potentially there's people from all over the place that we still haven't necessarily heard the voice of in terms of discussing the mob vote.
So I mean, Did you vote for the Sniffer? Is that
I
where
did,
you landed
yeah.
to?
Yeah, I ended up voting for the Sniffer in the end. I thought, honestly, the news that came out, they posted another blog post about the mob vote, and they mentioned that the Tuff Golem could be stacked on top of each other, and they said that the Rascal was going to teleport away after you've caught it for the third time and it's given you an item. And I read that on stream the other day, and I thought, honestly, that strengthened the Tuff Golem and weakened the Rascal for me. And so the Tuff Golem sounded like a more interesting proposition after that, but I still think the design of the Sniffer, the functionality of it getting you new plants, the fact that there's different growth stages for it and stuff, all of that amounted to a more interesting picture to me than something like the Tuff Golem that seems so grounded in utility, but also doesn't seem as controllable because of the randomness of how often it would move around.
Yeah, the randomness coming into any of these mobs is what turned me off of it. And the Sniffer, while it's going to wander around randomly and collect seeds out of the ground, if you can put it in a pen, then at least you can control that, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And I think that's where I was really just like, anytime you introduce a random mechanic that I can't then control, I'm kind of out. You know, even if it looks cool, like I like the look of the Tuff Golem. I think I mentioned that on Monday's show. It's a cute little statue type dude. But if it walks away when I don't want it to, I'm out. Not interested. You know. Yeah. And I don't know what that says about me as a Minecraft player, but like when I put a block down, I don't want it to walk away. Yeah. Can you imagine if other blocks did that? They just, the corner of your house just decides like, nope, bye. We're just gonna go that way.
It's like holding up a block that ends up it like tips your entire house down.
Yeah, like imagine if Enderman griefing was not limited to just like dirt and grass and stuff. Like what if they could just walk up to your house and take anything? Like, doesn't matter.
Yeah, I think them taking dropped items and not blocks is obviously the solution to that, but it's still like, it's interesting if you consider it a solid block-like entity, like what kind of collision it's going to have, all of that stuff. Like I'm not sure how they'd implement that. So there's a lot of different approaches you could take.
Yeah, because it looked like it would be sub-block. Like it wouldn't be bigger than a single block.
I think they confirmed it was 1 block tall. Like so it was definitely going to be like that short, yeah.
Yeah, okay. But then like the model of it would then be like the shoulders and stuff would be within a block as far as the X and Z coordinate would be considered, right? Yeah. I mean, 1 block tall makes sense because if you're going to put something on its head, right?
Yeah.
Like if it's gonna stack and if it's gonna be able to be in a wall or in something. See, that's too bad too, because like if they could stay still, then imagine having like a decorative wall where you've carved out 2 little single block notches in like the frame of a door. And then you're putting the golem like in the decorative.
Yeah, you've used them as like pillars. Yeah,
like a relief sculpture sort of thing.
Yeah,
But
I think there's something to be said for each of them, though. I think whichever one ends up winning, we can find some cool stuff to do with it. Kind of like the allay, though. It's a very voluntary action with each of them. Like they're all things that, if they're not going to spawn all that naturally, I think in the case of the Rascal, it'd spawn very occasionally. The Tuff Golem you would have to craft, and the Sniffer you have to actively look for its eggs in order to have it in the world. So all of it is encouraging players to go out and intentionally interact with it, instead of it being something like a zombie or a skeleton or a cow that you're just going to bump into as you explore.
Yeah, the Rascal teleporting away, I'm assuming is to try and keep players from like not camping it, but like kidnapping it, like hiding it and putting it in a small cell with a couple of things for it to hide behind, so you can just peek at it 3 times and get free stuff.
Yeah.
There was no mention of a cooldown about like how long it is before you run into another one or before it comes back.
I assume that's the kind of stuff that had happened in balancing the mob once it was like chosen for development, right? That's
I suppose,
they'd get player feedback on that kind of stuff, but it'd still be something that they'd have to figure out and balance, and it wouldn't please everybody. You'd have somebody who wanted it to be more accessible, somebody who was thinking, oh, this thing's just useless now because I can grab it and shake it as many times as I want and the loot comes out of its pockets,
Yeah, it did sort of remind me the first time they showed it before they started explaining it. I was like, oh man, I hope that's not like the loot pig in
Minecraft Dungeons,
right?
Yeah.
Because then it's just going to be a complete like slugfest. People are just going like, oh, I'm going straight after this,
But either way, it's going to be an exciting thing to find out what's happening. I think for the first time, it's going to be fun to have something that we don't end up tracking on Twitter, right?
Welcome. I'm your host and chief
Looks like
storyteller
they're
of Mojang
Yeah, I'm going to be rolling up the volume so
Studios,
folks at home can
we
listen.
have an exciting show for you today, packed with all things Minecraft. And you'll hear it directly from the amazing people making it. Hang out with us as we show you our new game, Minecraft Legends. See what's going on in Minecraft Dungeons, find out about the next Minecraft update, and a lot more. If you love Minecraft, you're definitely in the right place. Welcome
The eyes
to
follow you
Minecraft
around the
Live
room.
2022.
Oh, here's the tail end of that train that they were all on in the trailer.
Oh yeah, there it is. How cool.
They need a bop. They need the bop music. The EDM. There we go. Frog crossing. Side eye. That's awesome. The cows.
I think they did a great job on the music for this.
Yes. Hope they were holding their breath underwater.
And there's your Minecraft Legends shout out.
Yeah.
I think I'm just a touch behind you, but I don't want to refresh it now because
Yeah.
this is as good as it's going to get.
Hello, Minecrafters of the world! I'm Voo and I'm here to talk about what I've personally decided is the coolest part of Minecraft Live, the mob vote. As you may have noticed, we've done things a little differently this year. But first, let's take a look at our 3 mob choices that you, the Minecraft community, will choose from. The one that wins the vote will be fully developed and added to Minecraft. First,
Okay, everybody in chat, spam which one you voted for. Let us know. Sniffer, Tuff Golem, Rascal. Let us know. Got 1,000 people here. I'd love to see like a room vibe about which one everybody voted for.
To be extinct and maybe even get some new plants. Next up, we have the
There's a
Rascal. This mischievous mob lives underground and loves playing hide and seek.
A lot of
If you
Sniffer.
find it 3
I'm seeing a lot of
times, it
Sniffer,
will
but a
give you
decent
prize.
amount of Tuff Golem as well.
If you vote for the Rascal, you can play hide and seek for loot in Minecraft. And last but certainly not least is the Tuff Golem. These stony mobs can hold items and move around your base. If you vote for the Tuff Golem, you could set up your own moving art exhibition. Okay, so you know the mobs. Now how do you vote for them? We wanted it to be really easy.
So,
for everyone
I'm
to
pretty
get
sure the vote is
participated
now
this year.
closed.
For the past 24 hours,
So,
we
yeah,
have
I guess it's
in-game
maybe your last chance to vote if you haven't already.
your vote, and
Once
it
again, you
just
can
closed. But
head over
there
to
are still 2
minecraft.net.
ways you can vote right now and
Oh yeah,
for
you can
about
still
15
vote at
minutes.
minecraft.net
Either
for the
head
next 15
straight
minutes.
into the Minecraft
Yes.
launcher and click the Minecraft Live tab, or head to minecraft.net/live and vote there.
Yeah, that makes
Which
sense. They
mob
took the
do you
server
want to
down
see in
because
the
the server
game?
was probably going to be the most
Sniffer, the
volatile
Rascal, or
thing
the Tuff Golem?
at
If
Minecraft
you
Live
haven't
itself.
done it yet, go cast your vote now and be a part of deciding on the future of Minecraft. Now, let's go to Lydia,
Kicking off with
Magnus, and
Legends.
Kevin to hear all about our new game, Minecraft Legends.
Here we go. Actually quite
Legends
excited for
hold
this.
Great power. The legends we hold dearest are legends of hope, of
They've got some
creativity,
Great voiceovers.
and of bravery. And friendships that change the world forever. This is the legend of a united overworld. United by you.
Minecraft Legends is a brand new action strategy game from us at Mojang Studios in partnership with Blackbird Interactive. And I'm here with 2 of my amazing colleagues. Hey, Magnus. Hey, Kevin.
Hello.
Okay, before we talk about the game, which I'm really ready to do, could you tell everyone what you do at Mojang?
Sure can. I'm the creative director at the game studio here in Stockholm.
I love Lydia's sparkly
I am the
earpiece.
narrative director for the game studio in Stockholm.
So you're going to tell us all about this amazing game we've all been waiting for. And first I want you to tell everyone, what does it mean to be a legend?
I think the best way to start answering that question is to talk about storytelling in Minecraft, because stories in Minecraft mean something different than in most games.
They do.
In most games, most of the time, it's the game gives you a story, and then that's the story that you take. But in Minecraft, it's all about the stories that you make. And so every time you log on, I log on, all of our players log on. The stories that you make to all of our players, the stories you make are the most important stories in Minecraft. So with that understood, I think what it best means to be a legend. When we first announced the game, we did so with a scene of a villager reading a bedtime story to a villager child. And I think we can all understand that feeling of closing your eyes and hearing an impossible story that maybe isn't all true, but you wish it was. Maybe parts of it were. It's those kind of legendary what-ifs that we're going to add in Minecraft Legends for you to put into your next Minecraft story.
I really love that. It feels super complex, though. You're taking a game so many of us we know, we love, we've been playing for a long time, and then you're trying to interpret it into something new. How do you do it?
It's not easy to make a game. It never is. But this game, especially, like with a new team, both internally a little bit, when we just learn Minecraft, and not only the game but the whole experience of Minecraft, because it's larger than just the games. And then working together with Blackbird Interactive in Vancouver, just getting them into that spirit of the connecting back to original Minecraft, just recognize what's going on in the world and so on. Connect everybody around that and focus on what we want to do with this game and get the new stuff in there, because we do want a differentiation between our games as well.
But you still want it, I mean, you're really bringing the spirit of our original Minecraft game and the feeling of, you're like, we're in this beautiful place. It's different than Minecraft, but it's something special. Where are we?
A little familiar still, but welcome to the Well of Fate. The Well of Fate is where we start our adventure in Minecraft Legends. It's where you enter the world. It's really the heart of the overworld in this story. And it's a place where, over the course of the game, you're going to make some very important friends. I think we'll talk about it a little bit later.
We definitely
can
will.
see people wanting to build that in their own Minecraft worlds.
Yeah, looking at those
right
blocks,
away,
like,
the spirit of
we don't have
Minecraft. But
those.
you're also adding.
We don't
so
have those
many
yet.
things. You come to
Yeah,
the Well of Fate,
and we
you get really
rotate.
awesome
I guess the
tools.
closest thing would be like an end crystal, I guess.
Maybe,
when you come to the Well of Fate in the beginning of a game, you will be given a couple of tools that kind of gives you your ability in this
I
world.
do get jealous
in this
about
game.
the animation.
So to begin with, you
in
get the thing called the flame of
Minecraft-related
creation.
games.
Yeah, like the fluidity of some of these animations is something we talked about before.
The flame of creation is kind of like making it possible for you to build spawners that can bring new friends into the world that helps you out. Second thing you will be given is the banner of courage. And that's a banner that you can wave in the air and that will make your friends follow you. And then you can point them in different directions and tell them to do different tasks for you. And maybe the last but not least, my favorite, the loot. Because you are given a lute that you can play, and that just play some music, and that will bring in the allies into the world. They love music, and they will help you to gather materials and build buildings and stuff.
That makes sense. You're
Cool,
introducing a
everybody's gonna
musical
get
element
to
for the
see a
allays.
lot of
That's
that
neat.
as we
Yeah.
play
Shout out
through
to all
and
the
show
bards
a
playing
lot
D&D
more
that just
of,
The bards,
Masterminds
absolutely,
that
yeah.
people have seen before. Throughout the show, we've asked our creators to send us questions so they can ask them directly to our team working on it, and you two get the first one.
Ooh, nice.
Hola a todos, yo soy AlanFull98 y mi pregunta es: hay muchas cosas en el juego que se sienten familiares, pero se ven y actúan de manera diferente, como los Piglin. ¿Cómo enfocaron el diseño de nuevas versiones de cosas que ya conocemos de Minecraft?
That is a really good question.
That is. And every good legend needs some good legendary danger. And the danger in this
tell
game
he's the narrative
comes
guy.
in the form and the smell a little bit of the piglins. For a while now, players have thought about what happened if the Nether would come for the overworld. And so even as far back as when the Nether update for Vanilla was being worked on, we started thinking about, we had zombie piglins in the game.
Wow.
What might they have been in a slightly less icky form?
Slightly less.
Slightly less.
Exactly.
Melty piglins.
Here's an image of that kind of like from relatively early stages when the term period that Kevin is talking about, like how we explore how to, change things in the game and like feel like if they are now a total zombie state, how can we get them to be at least a relatively fresh thing. It's like so a transition over their time. Here's another fantastic piece of art from that time period. Kind of like this is an era where we kind of like started to find that great balance between, you know, being super cute, but also feeling a little bit of dangerous.
It's they're really cool. And you actually have added different hordes. So there's different piglin hordes that are going to, I mean, not be nice, basically.
Yeah, as a rule.
Yeah, no, we have several different hordes, and they kind of like they bring different things to the game, so they look different, they play different, and you know, just act differently, so you can get a new experience each time you encounter a new
hordes. Do they mean different types of mobs?
I mean, action strategy.
I think we might be about to find out.
In this game.
Yeah, it's a bit of a new thing for us, and for many games, it's a unique combination in many ways for me. And we make games that we love to play. We have many people at the office who likes to play strategy games, so therefore we want to experiment a little bit with that. But another thing with Minecraft games, we always have a hero and representation of the player in the game world, so that's super important. And when you have a hero, you want that hero to be able to do some stuff, right? So that's where the action combination comes in and so on. So you can ride around and you can have a fun time and just, you know, swing your sword a little bit, have some environmental gameplay as we see here. You know, we call those things jump caps, and they're like super cool. Just
exploration
jump
in this game
around,
seems pretty fun.
Swing your sword a little bit, and with your sword you can
a lot more
defend
peaceful than
against
some of the
a few
action
numbers of
stuff
piglins
we've
and so
seen.
on. But
Yeah,
first and
totally.
foremostly, we also have the strategy part where you're actually a commander in the game, like bringing your friends to help you fight because you can't take on the piglin threat on your own.
That's awesome. And you have friends that, you know, are fighting alongside of you. We have some friends that guide you, but you also have just a lot of pure cuteness.
Yes, there is. Well, the overworld in Legends is a very peaceful, cozy place. You can kind of look around us and see. And yeah, so there's a lot of mobs who will show up and be very curious about the hero. There's a little turtle following the hero there. Some of the mobs will be familiar to players of Minecraft already. But there will be some new little
They've definitely made a lot of them
And
cuter.
like I said, most of these creatures will be curious and will follow you around and
There's the
and
badger.
start to learn about you.
The infamous
but some
badger.
of them may help out a little bit. For example, our friend the llama. Turns out llamas really don't like piglins, and you know what
Perfect.
happens if you make a llama mad.
Whew, good. Okay, so we'll take them, only the llamas with
Yes.
us, maybe. And you've added friends that, Kevin, you talked about earlier, that we would talk more about it. You added friends that really guide you in the game, which is so cool and very unique to Minecraft Legends.
Yeah, this is new for Legends and the kind of gameplay that we have here, because well, normally when you play Minecraft, you show up and the world is open to you, and there's really not a lot of immediate pressure. In Legends, however, the piglins have terrible manners. They're not going to give you any time. So
But I want to just hang out with the bounce caps and the cute animals.
there will be some time there, but
Okay.
in the meantime, piglins.
Yep.
So yeah, so as soon as you arrive in the world, at the Well of Fate, like I said, you will meet some friends called the hosts. And the hosts are interesting characters that you'll get to know across the course of the game. And on screen there's a
Getting
shot of them.
Monsters, Inc.
On
vibes.
the left, the tall one is Foresight. On the right, the little one is Knowledge, and the middle
Foresight.
is Action.
That's funny.
And Foresight, Knowledge, and Action are the characteristics, when we started thinking about these characters, that we think all Minecraft players, we all demonstrate every time we play Minecraft, is we see a hill, and Foresight is coming up with a dream of what might be up there. Knowledge is the understanding of the crafting recipes and the ingredients that you need to make that real. And then Action is the oomph, it's the hard work to make that a reality. So Foresight, Knowledge, and Action will help you across the course of the game, and hopefully become your friends.
I really love that. And Jens actually headed into Legends to meet up with the hosts so that you can all get to know them more.
Oh, pre-rendered. Cool. And there's Jeb. Amazing.
Welcome back, Jens. What can I do for you today?
You're always so helpful, Foresight.
The
We've been
glasses
friends
on
for a
the end of
while,
his nose.
and I felt it was time to return the favor.
Thank you.
Anything I can do to help you with that?
Your timing is perfect. Let us hope your courage is as well. Come, Action waits for us through the portal.
Action!
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 Where are you? Oh, hello. Nice little kitten.
Hello.
Those little, like, tiger things? Those look cool.
Glad you're back. We really need help protecting the overworld.
Not the voice I expected, but
no.
awesome.
Like
Maybe
little
I
voice
can
and a
go too.
giant
Good.
host.
I love
Somebody
it.
has to help us put an end to this.
I appreciate the
They
vote
should
of
make a
confidence,
TV show like
but
this. I
we
would
might
watch
need a few
Yeah.
more reinforcements.
This should be the Minecraft movie.
Oh man. Yeah.
The piglins are moving faster than we thought. We need more time.
Knowledge. What should we do?
Right now, we run!
Right. Surprise.
Bunny on the end of a chain. That
Oh,
was
Yeah.
Jens.
interesting.
He's a brave Jens.
He was really brave.
Yep.
I like those 3 characters though. That seems fun, and like they're Minecraft characters, but they speak English. It's fun. Like it's the kind of thing that
Right.
we don't have voice acting in. Like you see a little bit of it in Dungeons, but that's just a narrator.
Yes. And from our friends at Blackbird Interactive, Haley, and hi, Pete.
Hello.
Pete, we're gonna
First
start
solid look
exploring
at
with
the
you,
UI
so
as
let's
well.
jump in.
Let's do it.
Oh, come on. Who is that cool animal?
So this here is the Regal Tiger. It's one of the many new mobs that you'll see in Minecraft Legends. And
The
it's one
Regal
of the
Tiger, heck
be able-
yes.
Be able to ride.
I want one of
That's
those.
so cool. And throughout the game, you're always riding on one. And this one looks really fast.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's one of the reasons why it's my favorite, and also because it's so adorable.
It is really adorable. So where are we gonna go?
Well, I got a couple things planned where we should be heading over to help the rest of the team battle a piglin base.
So we got
there
some
was a few
4-player
things that I
co-op going on with the 4 hosts, I guess.
I see the Well of Fate.
Yeah, you sure do. So this is
I
the
think it
Well
might
of
be
Fate, as you
3.
mentioned. It is the player's home away from home when they're in the world of Legends. It's where you start the adventure and you return here many times throughout the course of the game, so you'll become very familiar with it by the end.
It's so
Co-op would be
beautiful. I
great,
love
though.
how peaceful and nice it is here.
Yeah, that's the idea. So actually here, I'm gonna scoop up some friends.
So you're using the Banner of Courage.
That's right. You just wave it around whenever there's a friendly mob nearby.
Summon the
and they'll
badges.
Follow you around. So we're gonna get a group of animals going here.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah, we
Quite a bunch of cuties.
Yeah, that's right. We're gonna take them
They're
for a swim.
Putting the
just for
floor,
fun.
like the
Okay, so
metal,
they're
the
coming with you
pedal to
for
the
fun,
floor for
but not to
cuteness.
fight.
That's
Yeah,
right.
definitely.
Look at that pig's face. Would you send that face into battle?
No, definitely not.
I don't think so.
I would protect it though. I'm ready.
So I had a couple more things I wanted to show. First off, with the allays, I'm gonna ask the allays to gather this tree for me.
That's really cool.
Yeah, you can see them tearing down that tree.
So this is kind of what I
Players
expected
will
them
be
to show, where
familiar with,
like the
vanilla
blue allays
Minecraft,
collect stuff for
breaking
you,
down
and then
the
the
world
yellow
and
allays
rebuilding
can
it
maybe
block by
build
block.
stuff. That's
In
like looked like the way it was
Legends, we like
working in
to
the
say that
trailers.
You do that thought by thought. So the player just has to say, you know what, I need some wood, and then you ask the allays to gather it for you, and off they go.
That's so amazing. So they will stay there and just keep gathering as you go about your journey.
That's right. You can send them off to gather resources while you do more
You
important
can start to
things.
see
They're
the
really
parallels
nice
between
friends.
other RTS action games, right?
Yeah, you send like the small units off to gather resources for you while you're directing the troops. That makes sense.
These sparkling bushes in front of me are called speedweed. Now, the player just needs to touch these and they'll get a speed boost. So we're going to use these here to rip through a few
neat.
biomes and head over to the team battling the piglins.
Nice.
Off we go.
Wow, we're really fast now.
Oh yeah.
Speedweed
They
is
get a boost.
awesome.
So we're heading into the jungle here. We're going to hit some more speedweed and then we're going to hit these bounce caps here. So we're going to be super fast and jump super high.
Oh,
Oh, that rules. So you can like chain together the attributes of these different plants to traverse the world better. That's fun.
Nice.
Again, like helps players with exploration and stuff as well. That's cool.
Doesn't look like there's any fall damage either.
Whoa, this is
And not on this animal. Maybe if you're just a player running
It's
around.
one of my
Yeah,
favorite
fair.
biomes. It's partially because of how much fun it is to run across the treetops like I'm doing here, but also just because of how nice it looks.
oh,
dead
it's
trees look
beautiful.
awesome.
And the mangroves are there.
Yeah, that's right. So I wanted to show off this nice bird's eye view. Here we go of the jungle. You can see all the beautiful trees and stuff.
And the world is randomly generated, so it's always going to be a bit different.
That's right.
Random
Everyone's
is
world will
cool.
be different. The world is just
I wonder
like
if
it
this is,
vanilla Minecraft, where from one place
if
to the
this is
next.
like modeled in
It's
Bedrock
very
the way
flexible,
Minecraft
so
Dungeons is.
Makes the experience unique.
Very Minecrafty.
Yeah, we're gonna head over to the Badlands next, but I've spotted something down on the forest floor that I want to show off first. So I'll head over here. And this
Ooh.
this
It'd
is
be
the
awesome
second
to
thing
talk
that the
to a,
Allays do for you.
Legends dev on the show.
Yeah, definitely. Like, we should try and get in touch with those folks.
Crack them open, see what's inside. There we go. I got 107 diamond.
Thank you, Alays.
That's right, yeah. So as you're exploring the world and you find those chests around, be sure to open them up because the Allays always have gifts for you. Oh, some of my friends managed to keep up. That's
Yeah,
great.
good job.
Oh, hello, little llama. You should come with me. Here we are in the Badlands. So this is the second biome I wanted to show off.
They've got the sound effects from
Not
Vanilla
as
Minecraft as
friendly
well.
as the beautiful jungle.
Yeah, this one's a little bit more hazardous. We've got some red thorns over here. Be sure not to walk into those. Those can deal damage. And there's a lot less trees, so there's a lot less wood resource in this biome. So you have to keep that in mind when you're planning ahead.
Ooh, that doesn't look great over there.
No, it sure doesn't. This here is the Piglin base. Now you can see the portal over there and the corruption that is spread throughout the world from that portal. And that's why we're here to stop it. We got to destroy that portal so that this corruption doesn't spread any further.
Kind of has a StarCraft
Okay, now
Zerg
this is the
vibe
last
to it
thing
with
that I wanted
the
to show you
creep
here.
spreading everywhere.
I'm going to switch my hotbar here, and I'm going to get the Allays to build me a
Oh,
bridge
switch,
across this.
switchable hotbar as well. Like vanilla Minecraft players look in.
So we have the blue Alays are gatherers, and then the yellow ones are building things.
That's exactly right.
But then they're both filling chests of awesomeness. I mean, they are really great.
Yeah, they sure are. So I'm actually going to drop these friends off here. I don't want to bring them into battle. I don't want them to be hurt. Yeah.
They've got a banner that you basically wave near the animals that you want to bring with you, I guess.
Right, but why bring them if they're not part of the fight, I guess?
I think maybe that's just a demonstration of the mechanic. I'm not sure what the animal's significance is.
To build them, and then you interact with them to spawn some mobs. So this is a creeper spawner. We're going to spawn ourselves a couple of creepers.
I would say I've never been happy to spawn creepers, but maybe today is the first time.
Yeah, that's for sure. You know, we're all aware of how dangerous they can be, but when you use them against the piglins, they're extremely effective.
And these are some new mobs, which I love.
That's right. These are the grindstone golems. So I'll grab a few of those, and then next I'm going to get a couple of the plank golems.
And the strategy really
The amount of creeper sound effects is making me slightly worried.
mobs should be fighting the
I keep checking over my shoulder.
doing it in different ways.
That's exactly right. So what the player is going to do is they're going to come and check out the piglin base, much like this, see what sort of piglin units and piglin structures in the base, and then pick their mobs accordingly.
I see a lot of action, so we're gonna head over to Lee
That
and
sounds
go
great.
like in the middle of battle.
We sure are. Okay,
Yeah,
here we
see,
go.
they have like 4 players in the same instance
Yeah,
here.
Lee's driving across that bridge there. She's got a whole bunch of mobs with her. She's going
Whoa.
to send them into battle using the Banner of Courage. So that big piglin over there is a lava
And one of them
launcher.
immediately jumps
That
off a
is
cliff.
one of the most dangerous piglins you can find in the Horde of the Spore. This is a Horde of the Spore base. And that piglin, you really got to watch out for those. They can attack long range by shooting magma cubes at you. They can also do short range stomp attacks. To
See, these
destroy any
piglins,
mobs
he
nearby.
said Horde of the Spore. They look different from the other ones. They've got like a different skin on them.
Yeah,
To work
yeah, they got
helping
mushrooms
out
growing
building
out of
those towers.
That's
which is
right.
really cool to actually have more
Which makes
defense.
sense. Horde of
That's
the
right. The
Spore.
towers that she's got on the left and right side of the bridge here, those are arrow towers. They're going to shoot arrows at any piglins nearby. So what we're doing here is we're
It's a
essentially
big hoglin too.
moving our way into the base, taking out the piglin structures, setting up structures of our own, battling the piglins, and making a safe path towards the portal
hoglin all
in
the
order to
time.
take it out. So send in a few more mobs in here on the lava launcher to try and take it out before we move in on the portal. Now, Lee's
the
been
higher
being handed
camera
off the
angle.
mobs from
Say again, Joel?
I like the higher camera angle. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you fine. I'm just having to control the volume for the people watching the stream.
Sorry.
together
okay.
against the piglins.
But yeah, the higher camera angle does
lava
give you a
launcher
different
looks like it's
vantage
in
point on
trouble.
Oh, it's
the
in big
battle.
There's a lot of mobs there.
It's in big trouble. Yeah, it doesn't have much time left. Oh, there it goes. Lava launcher
Whoa.
down.
Okay, do you think we can take out this portal?
Oh, I know we can. Because we have a secret weapon. Here
oh,
we go.
there's our secret weapon.
Yeah.
Oh my
telemarket.
goodness.
Coming in
And-
with the first of
neat.
stone. See this giant mob behind him? Scooping up a boulder, flinging it into the portal.
It's a catapult
Oh,
mob.
health bar's
That
already down
rules.
So quick.
Oh yeah, these piglins didn't know what hit them. Game over. 13%. A couple more shots.
Cool.
Hopla!
Great job, team. Okay.
I
so
like
I'm gonna
that
ask this on behalf of myself and
the explosion
everyone else.
animation has some like 2D elements to it as well. It kind of feels
Yeah.
like Minecraft sprites a little bit more.
My daughter Mai
And my boys, yes.
boys as well.
Yes,
Yeah.
a lot.
Spring
Yeah.
2023.
And I'm happy to tell you today that it's spring 2023. So
That must be
Not
so
too far.
exciting.
Very, very, very.
I mean, you've
So
been
that's
working
like
on this
6
for a
months or
long
less,
time.
basically, I guess.
I know we all can't wait.
I guess May, so like around 6 months.
And we're very excited for you all to play in spring 2023. And for the first time ever, here's the beginning of our game, the opening cinematic of Minecraft Legends.
Oh, cool.
A chicken that sits.
Imagine.
Really needs it.
It's kind of a neat way of showing, like, yeah, the overworld is all nice and happy, and even the zombies are okay with the people, but then the piglins are the enemies.
Sorry. Yeah. The poor bunny rabbit.
Yeah, right?
I was not expecting that.
Action, knowledge, come with me. We must witness this together.
Yeah, well, Mooblem says that I'm winning.
I find that a bit
And now we cut to Jens and Vu playing a different kind of strategy game. I haven't checked out either of these. There's 2 new Minecraft games that came out recently, which is Portal Dash and Hero of the Village, I think it's called.
Mob. I know I did. Jens,
Yeah, did we talk about that briefly on the show?
Oh, I thought it was
I think we
amazing.
covered it very briefly, yeah, based on a couple of tweets that I found from Mark Watson.
And I'm very excited to see which
So it
That's
looks
what
like the
it was,
mob
yeah.
vote. The mob vote is now closed, is what they're saying. Sorry, I'm talking over them a bit, but I want to digest some of the stuff that we just saw about Minecraft Legends. We'll be talking about that a little bit after the show as well, when we stick around and have a chat. But it's super cool to see some stuff from Legends. I think that game looks really fun.
Nailing down the details, and you kind of figure out how does this mob interact with all the other mechanics in the game, and what do we need to make it like a really good mob. Like everyone on the team really loves Minecraft and wants to make the best mob possible. So now I'm sure they're very excited to see which one takes the win.
I think we all are. Since I have you here, we have a creator question just for you.
Ciao a tutti, io sono Carly e questa è la mia domanda per voi. Nel trailer di Minecraft Legends abbiamo visto dei nuovi mostri. Li vedremo mai nelle nuove versioni di Minecraft?
That's a really good question. And Magnus and Kevin, they were talking a little bit about this, because you see in Legends, we have the allays. And the allays were created for Legends to solve a problem. Like, how can the player build and collect resources while focusing on the big picture of the strategy? But when we thought about the allays, we thought about and also like what do they mean for the bigger Minecraft mythology, if we would call it that, and what would it mean for the vanilla experience?
Yeah.
So we thought about a lot about it and included in the last year's mob vote and
thankfully, the community voted for that one. But of course, then we needed to make sure that it worked well for Minecraft and like that kind of gameplay. We had some things were, of course, like the way it looks and that it loves music. That was like part of its essence, but it needed to work well for Minecraft. And similarly, like Kevin mentioned, like with the piglins, that like we wanted to make sure that piglins work well in vanilla. So that is kind of how we think about many mobs in all our games, and they may or may not move to other games, but it has to fit, like it has to have an opportunity essentially. And obviously in Minecraft Legends is a legend, and many of those really special ones will probably remain a legend.
That's cool. So Jens, I have a really important question for you. Haven't you ever wished you could just develop your own mob for Minecraft?
Well,
anyway, now you can do just that.
So it's essentially they just said, no, you're not going to see any Legends mobs in Minecraft.
I mean, he says they have to fit, which is the same answer that we always get for stuff like Minecraft Dungeons as well. It's like, yes, these mobs have been designed to work in an action game, an action strategy, and they have to consider whether or not that's going to fit vanilla Minecraft's gameplay style, right?
Yeah.
So they're not ready to commit to any of that yet, but you know, if people like badgers enough, maybe they'll add a badger to vanilla Minecraft. It just has to do something instead of just being like set dressing for something like Minecraft Legends.
Like it suggests things that you can pick from. It gives you templates to pick from, and then I think from there you can just start creating your
Oh god,
own.
the silverfish chicken is very cursed. I don't like it.
No,
I think all of us really, really want to see our own mobs in the game. Like we kind of dream about having this new animal.
I think my brain is just on the Sniffer, but I like the idea of having some larger mobs added.
Yeah.
You know, like hoglins are big, pandas are big. I feel like there could be some other large mobs that could be added to the game.
We talked about elephants in some of our earliest episodes of the Spawn Chunks, and we kind of came to the conclusion that they might seem kind of awkward walking up a block if they're already like really large.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, hoglins are okay. You kind of suspend your disbelief. It's just how far you can stretch that.
What you want it to play and feel like, and what it looks like, combining those two together really leaves you in the right place to start.
If you're scared about it like I was, you can just start by painting an existing
really
mob.
cool
That's
creative
one of
tool.
the cooler things.
Yeah, they did a segment about
block.
Blockbench last year, I believe, at Minecraft Live. So this is kind of like a sequel to that, probably. But yeah, it's kind of cool to see people stretching the boundaries of what's possible there.
I hope you find some resource to get you started here, whether it's our tutorials, whether it's the Blockbench tutorials, whether it's a YouTuber that's made a video on this stuff. See what other people are doing out there, get inspired, download this tool, and just start seeing what your creativity can bring and try it out.
Banana. This one's actually going to be really difficult. How do you make a curved object in Minecraft? How does that work? But I think I've actually done okay. It's going to need some eyes or something. Do you reckon we could make like a face just to make it a little bit more interesting? We do that, and then okay, that actually looks kind of cool. I thought it was gonna be massive. Do you do anything? Oh, you walk. Okay, this looks like an Adventure Time character. I always dreamed of being able to make.
Man unleashes his banana creature on the world. Chaos ensues.
I could see that being really cool with the right talent behind it, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm not saying I'm still holding out hope that my Alolotl from last year will go in the game, but I definitely am. The coolest thing is that these are the same tools our developers and marketplace creators are using to create new things in the game. Minecraft Marketplace is full of fun content you can't get anywhere else. And today we have a first look at something many of us have been waiting for.
Oh, hi there, Minecraft family. My name is Jim Lee. I'm the publisher and chief creative officer of DC Comics. I'm here to announce that we're bringing Batman to Minecraft in a brand new DLC world launching very soon.
Okay.
In this DLC, you'll use Batman.
You've had Lego Batman, now you have Minecraft Batman.
Villains like Harley Quinn, Penguin, and more as you unravel Joker's nefarious plot. To celebrate the release of the Minecraft Batman DLC, you can get the free Batman cap in the dressing room right after Minecraft Live. I know you want to hear more. Well, then check out this amazing trailer for the Minecraft Batman DLC right now.
Imagine the Batcave, but it's just full of redstone instead of like electrical gadgets. It's all like pistons and comparators and stuff.
Yeah, they really had to go outside of the Minecraft blocky character to sell the villains.
Yeah, definitely. You need enough detail. But this also feels a lot more like the kind of old school, like less gritty, more colorful Batman. Which I don't know what they did with it in the Lego movies because I didn't see them, but I feel like they're certainly going down a more colorful and, you know, bright-looking route than your more recent Batman adaptations.
The Lego Batman had some color, but Batman himself was making fun of the Christian Bale Batman.
Yeah, This feels a lot more like, if not Adam West era, then maybe a little bit Joel Schumacher.
I know.
For better or for worse.
I know you, but for those who don't, could you tell them what you do at
Of
Minecraft?
course.
On Minecraft?
Yes. Hello, everyone. Lovely to meet you. I'm Agnes, and I'm the game director for Minecraft.
And Agnes, later in the show, you're going to tell us about the next update.
Oh, yes. So we will show some lovely new things, and we will actually do it in a bit of a different way this year because it's important for us to learn from previous years.
I cannot wait. I'm very excited. I know a lot of us are. But first, I wanted to know, have you ever wished that there was an opera for the Warden?
Yes.
All the time?
Oh, yeah. It's like my biggest dream.
Well, Element Animation has made your dreams come true.
That's amazing.
Warden the opera.
Come down to the dark, there's no one around. An ancient city with riches to be found. But don't make a peep and be light on your feet. 'Cause if you make a sound, there's something you'll meet.
I think it's really interesting how this is everybody's experience of the Deep Dark, though. Like, they've done such a good job capturing it in vanilla Minecraft that this almost doesn't feel too exaggerated.
No eyes, it can sense you in the dark and hunt you as you
It reminds me of Nightmare Before Christmas.
Oh yeah, totally.
You've sealed your fate. It just needs a whiff, and it can find you with one sniff. You steal and you roam, invading its home, causing a commotion. Get out of this catacomb. Souls beat in its chest. There's no time to rest, and you've been a bad guest. So run, you cacophonous pest. Come down to the dark.
That was cute.
Okay,
Yeah.
the votes have been tallied, and it's time to... Hey, what's going on? Tiny Voo's doing what?
Yes! I can't believe it worked! That average size Voo always gets the glory, but it's finally me, Tiny Voo, who gets to shine. The first round of the mob vote has been
I like how
tallied,
he's
and
average-sized
now I
Voo.
will tell you whether it's the Sniffer, the Rascal, or Tuff Golem that's been voted out. Okay, here it is, my big moment. Drum roll, please.
Not today, Tiny Voo. You have voted and we have counted, and wow, so many of you joined the vote this year. Over 3.5 million Minecrafters from around the world.
Respectable.
Well, out of the Sniffer, the Rascal, and the Tuff Golem, the mob with the least number of votes is the Tuff Golem. Goodbye, little Tuff Golem. You will live on in our memories.
Yeah, that's a surprise.
The exciting part is still to come. Towards the end of the show, we will reveal the winner of the mob vote, the victor who will be added to the game in a future update. Are you excited? There's still hope for the mob I voted for, so I'm very excited.
Yeah, Rascal definitely gets the pre-teen vote, I think. Interesting. I wonder if the Sniffer's gonna be enough. I also wonder how many like vaguely bitter people are going to be saying that Minecraft has like rigged the vote behind the scenes because we didn't have a public-facing like illustration of how the vote was going, just because it's not on Twitter, right? But no, unfortunate for all of the Tuff Golem fans.
I mean, I've seen how it looks, and I think it actually looks really, really good.
As a screaming goat.
Stay up to date on what's coming up. Or hang out with us as we play games and dive deeper into everything we reveal during Minecraft Live.
Is there something?
No, Isco was on the
People usually
Minecraft
ask
Now.
me, what type of Minecraft are you? And I
I think it was like one of the earliest ones they did. He like,
was it?
Yeah, he did a couple of mini games with them and stuff. It was fun.
Cool.
We are overjoyed to see that now over 10 million of you have subscribed to our YouTube channel. Thank you to all of you who watch and enjoy the content we make. It's because of you that we get to keep making awesome Minecraft videos. Now, let's talk about Minecraft Dungeons.
Okay,
and
that
for
was
that,
funny.
I will, of course, invite Laura. It's quite the entrance.
Jealous, huh?
A little bit. Anyway, when you're not being rolled around on thrones, can you tell everyone what do you do at Mojang Studios?
I get rolled around, and I am also the lead designer for Minecraft Dungeons, which
totally
means
a
that I
person,
get
like,
to contribute
pushing
a
her
lot
under
to
the
the
table.
creative work in the game, which is amazing.
That's so cool. And Minecraft Dungeons has been on quite a journey the past few years.
Yes, it's been a crazy ride since launch, and we've released so many things, so I thought we could begin by watching a bit of a
I haven't played
recap
Dungeons in
of
forever.
the game.
All right.
Yeah, it's been a while for me too. Like I last played it when the End DLC came out. I tried a little bit of the tower, but I just don't have the time to play it regularly to kind of keep up with this stuff.
Yeah, I
Like
tried a little bit of the tower on Xbox just for fun one evening, but I didn't stick with it.
Yeah, it's tricky. Like it requires you to have a more kind of intense knowledge of the game to know what weapons and armor have synergy and that kind of stuff. So it's
Yeah.
a very different way to play the game.
I do like how colorful this game is, though.
Yeah, like when you scale up to Apocalypse difficulty and you're doing like millions of damage per hit, then it's got a lot of appeal to it. It definitely helps you feel very like tough.
Was the End DLC hard?
The final boss was a little tough just because it hadn't really introduced the mechanics the same way some of the other stuff does, but it was about as tough as any of the other ones were, really.
Right.
Like, and you could scale the difficulty yourself. That was the other thing. So, like, you could always roll it back a couple of levels if it felt like it was too difficult for your current character.
Yeah. I still haven't beaten the first boss.
Yeah.
Wow, so much great stuff has already happened.
It's been so much, and it's been so great. But I think now that we've looked at the past a little bit, we are ready to talk a bit about the future.
I think everyone wants to hear that.
Yes, and the amazing thing is that now we're ready to announce that we're releasing Seasonal Adventure 3, which is called the Fauna Fair, and it is all about pets. And
this was already announced on Minecraft.net a couple of days ago. I think we briefly managed to cover it on the show.
Some concept art, and we have some otters, some ferrets, some penguins, and my personal favorite, which is the hedgehog.
I see why.
Yes, and it's tiny, and it rolls around, and it follows you through the level. So
more mobs that we probably won't get in vanilla Minecraft.
The mobs turn out so good. I think the penguins fit very well in camp, and we also have chickens, and the clutch room from Minecraft Earth, and tons of cows.
I think the red panda is probably my favorite.
Our emo cow. We're very happy about it, and it's so cozy. But the whole season will revolve about pets. So all the rewards you'll be able to get through the season are around pets. So you'll get like cow and turtle capes, and all the emotes are going to be about animals. So you will be able to pet your pets, or be a bit of a chicken or a bit of a dog. Why not?
That's perfect.
And also very flashy flares like the cat
I never understood the whole point of the flares
all sorts of
in dungeons.
Cool
I think it's just you can't
That's
have too much character
really
customization. You can't like import your own skin without modding it heavily. So I think it's just a way of having more personalized approaches to your character. And if you're a younger player and you play with friends and that kind of stuff, then your like celebration for killing mobs or whatever feels a lot more unique that way.
Right.
We'll get to explore the jungle.
I guess if you're not on mic, then
this massive tree, and
it makes your character more expressive.
Makes
so
sense.
I think it is a very different experience because it's such a vertical level.
Yeah, I love that. You can feel that you're way up high.
Yes, and I think we should also talk about my favorite thing.
Your favorite?
It is a bit of my baby, but in dungeons, you've never gotten the ability to replace your enchantments. You know how you get a piece of gear and they come with their enchantments. And we're finally releasing the Enchant Smith, which is a new merchant that will move into your camp.
So cool.
Well, that's cool.
And it will allow you to...
Yeah, this is something they have in the tower, but it was never a functionality that you took into the rest of the game. So it's cool if you can change enchantments out and customize something that you know is a really good weapon, but for that one thing that would be slightly different.
Creator question just about that.
Let's watch it.
Hi there, my name is Steph Sanyati. I'm head narrative designer at Padia Gaming, and I'm also a gaming content creator. My partner and I love playing Minecraft Dungeons together, but we've always wanted a way to change up our enchantments. I heard in the new update there might be a way to do that with the Enchant Smith. Can you tell us more about that and how it's going to work?
Yeah, I guess I can give a few more details. Let's see. So you'll be able to save the Enchant Smith in high block halls, and after that they'll move into your camp, and you'll be able to go up to their booth and select a piece of gear you want to re-enchant, select an enchantment you already had, pay a bit of gold, and the Enchant Smith will re-roll it.
That's a lot of gold they have, though.
I mean, you have to pay them for their work.
Yes, it is their job.
Yes, and I think I've saved the best thing for last.
Okay.
So, last year we talked about the tower, which was a new feature, and it is that space where you go floor by floor, defeating waves of mobs, and you get stronger as you go, and at the end you get an amazing reward. Well, we're ready to announce that we're releasing a multiplayer mode.
That's awesome.
Yes, and today we have here with us
good.
Kelsey and JP from the...
That was one of the major disappointments of the tower, was people couldn't play it multiplayer.
And that way, if one of you has more game knowledge than the other, you can kind of help your other friend out, right?
Yeah, like co-op tower, I think is a great idea.
With the tower multiplayer, we're also releasing new biomes in the tower.
I think one of the most difficult aspects of the tower was the fact that you have lives, like you only have 3 lives and you're out, whereas having a friend who can revive you if the friend is really good and has a decent setup, I think that's allows for a lot more strategy and potentially a better chance of beating it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
In couch co-op, but you'll also be able to play this in online multiplayer, and you'll be able to play with up to 4 friends. So yeah, same as in the rest of the game. Like whenever somebody joins or somebody leaves.
Now they've released the Minecraft Legends video. I keep thinking of that one mob that has 4 eyes and seeing all of the things with 4 lights on them, and this like reminds me of the Foresight character.
Doing really well here.
Yes.
Oh
it is,
yeah.
Of the three hosts.
Yeah, the
wanted
three
to
hosts.
Give them a bit of a head start and a bit of a leeway.
I like that catapult mob from Legends.
Yeah, the massive like golem that's like 4 times the size of any golems we have in vanilla.
Yeah, they called it something
5 of
special, like the Rock of
So we thought
Truth
the
or
end biomes
something.
were very good for that. And here you can see, like when you choose a new piece of gear in the tower, you'll be able to see what your friends are choosing also.
Okay.
Which means that you can strategize with each other. So, you choose the hammer, I'll choose the crossbow, and then you get that melee strength, and I get the
Yes.
range strength.
So then you work well together.
Yes, I made this level harder.
Okay.
So to give them a bit of a challenge, and we'll see how that goes. I think it should
It's
be
already
fair.
looking a little bit tough.
Yeah, but here you can see like how
This
you
looks way
collaborate
more
with each
fun
other.
with
Like
two
you put the
people.
totem of
Yeah, definitely.
healing.
And then you can all heal it.
Exactly, and then you both get it, and you can protect.
Yeah, one of my
yourself. So
frustrations
I
with the
think
tower was
I
like
really like this strategy
just
that
how
it
tough it
works
gets
with
for one
people.
player. And I never quite got the
very
build
such
style right, because my way of playing dungeons was a little different to most people's.
Yeah, maybe you were a little
that's
mean
fair.
on that, but they did a great job.
I mean, I need to show the challenge in the tower.
You definitely showed the challenge. So everyone will want to know, when do we get this?
Oh wow. that's
Very,
like
very
next week.
soon. Seasonal Adventure 3 is coming on the 19th of October.
Oh, wow.
So super soon you'll get the Enchant Smith, Treetop Tangle, Tower Multiplayer, all of it.
That is awesome.
Yes, but there's also one other thing that is coming on October, the 26th of October to be precise, and that's the Spooky Fest,
Yeah.
which
It's a
is
good
now
game
a
to do the Spooky
tradition
Fest,
in
yeah.
the Dungeons world.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
this
the
year you're
previous
getting
Halloween
more
events they've
rewards
had
than
has been
ever
really fun.
before. You're getting 6 pieces
They
of
have some
gear,
tough challenges on Halloween as
and
well.
I'm
The
super
night
happy
mode
how they
where
turned out. They
basically
did
mobs
super
spawn
well.
constantly, like that was
You'll
tough.
also be able to get
Like
those
I barely made
gear
it through a
in
couple of levels.
Minecraft Bedrock Edition, which means that you'll be able to get spooky all around.
That is great. Wow, you've shared so much. Thank you so much, Laura. I mean,
For all the silliness that they do, that was actually pretty funny.
Yeah, it's a bit of stage stuff,
Well,
but
as
yeah, it feels
usual, the
a little more
Minecraft
rehearsed.
Dungeons news was fun and exciting. Now let's take a look at something on the inspirational side.
Now more than ever, the world needs more hope, curiosity, and peace.
So I think the biggest dungeons
Bringing
news is
the
probably
real
the
world
2-player
into the Minecraft
tower, huh?
world enables
I
us
think
to
it's up to
explore
4 players. I think they said like,
Oh, did
or if
they? Oh, wow.
or if they didn't say it, the rest of Minecraft Dungeons is. So it would be weird if they only made it a 2-player thing. But yeah, I presume if they're bringing multiplayer tower, they're going all the way.
Experience life through the eyes of animals, living in some of the coldest habitats on Earth. Hunt in a whale pod.
Yeah, people in chat are confirming they said it's up to 4. So
Protect your cubs,
Oh, cool.
all while learning about the ways climate change is impacting these frozen worlds. These 5 Minecraft maps are inspired by stories from the Frozen Planet 2 series, created in partnership with BBC Earth. Head to warmer climates to explore swamps of mangroves, an incredible super tree species found in 114 countries. Join the Mangrove Restoration Project and use seed cannons to restore these essential mangroves.
Rakuta is saying you want walrus in the game now. Yeah, I've seen a lot of animal mobs in the various presentations we've
Climate
had today that
superheroes
I would
because
really
they're
enjoy
created
being in the
on
vanilla
Earth
game.
to sequester carbon. Don't miss the chance to learn about these ridiculously
Yeah,
cool
I've
trees.
often thought about trying to come up with some, even just mob variants with Blockbench. You know, just making the cows look a little bit different here and there. And
Yeah.
but you always seem to need Optifine to implement that in game.
Yeah, some of the stuff with custom models is still kind of it's easier to do with Bedrock add-ons than it is with Java, I believe.
This world was created in partnership with the Hispanic Heritage Foundation to help young people build leadership skills and inspire local action. Learn from history with Peace Builders, a series of adventures created with the Nobel Peace Center and Games for Change. Meet 4 Nobel Peace Prize laureates and help them avoid and solve conflict, learning the skills needed to craft peace. Clear landmines to save a Cambodian village. Protest the unjust apartheid system. Support refugees after an earthquake. We can all help create more peace. All of these amazing worlds are available for free
Yeah, the
in the
manatees look
Minecraft
cool.
marketplace. Together, we can build a better world.
It makes me so happy whenever I see all of those worlds.
I agree. It's beautiful and inspiring. And actually, I think for us, it's not only like beautiful that we really try to make the real world a better place. I even think it's a responsibility because we are lucky to have so many players, and that means that we have quite a lot of impact, and that needs to come with a lot of responsibility too.
And that's the cool thing, because to me, it's, you know, it's not us doing something by ourselves as a company. It's always with our community, and like the best ideas come from the community, and so many people that love the game the way we do.
Yes, it's super inspiring.
So Agnes, you're gonna tell us the next update.
I will soon.
Oh, here we go.
But first, I would actually love to take some time to talk about what we have learned from previous years, because we have announced some features that we didn't manage to deliver. And it's important that we learn from that and that we take action from that. So, for example, this year, we will only show features that have come very, very far in the development process. Because, like, with Minecraft Live, we want to celebrate this, like, lovely game together with our amazing community, and we want to create player dreams. So when we show new things, we want, like, to inspire the players. And I remember for myself, like, a long time ago, before I worked here, I used to watch Minecons, and I remember seeing new things. I'm like, I want to build this thing with this block. I want to go on this adventure. And we want to give these kind of dreams to our players. And then it's so important that we feel 100% confident that we really can deliver on these dreams.
Yeah, and I mean, it feels like we would tell everything at Minecraft Live, and then you had to just keep up with that. You couldn't add anything or kind of change things.
Yes, so like in recent years, we showed like the full update almost, and then we were just chasing it for the rest of the development process, and it caused stress. So this year, we think we will have time to really like iterate on the features together with the community, of course, and also to add features that we haven't showed yet, like that we haven't showed today. Because like we know, we already have so many ideas, and also during the development process, both us and the community, so many ideas gonna pop up. And those are also often very, very charming. So we're happy that we will have like more time to really explore this update together.
Yeah, I love it. It lets the team be more creative. It lets us be creative with the community and like kind of see where the path takes us. And also, it's really exciting to get to hear new things like throughout the year too. So I'm excited, just like, what's happening? What's happening? But what can you tell us about the update?
I mean, I can tell quite many things, but actually, first I want to tell you that we have decided to not name it yet. So for now, we will call it the 120 update, and it will be released in 2023.
Okay, no name for the update yet.
And the reason for that is that we want to shape it like throughout the development process together with the community, because like Minecraft is some kind of like magic almost to Minecraft, and I think one of the key things that creates this magic is that Minecraft is community fueled.
Absolutely.
So, yes.
So we both came from the community before.
Yes. So let's name it when we all feel ready to do that.
But you do have a theme, so some things to think about.
We do know what we want to achieve with the update, and we have a vision. We just want to be like flexible enough so the community can be part of shaping it. And what we want to do with this update is that we want to make Minecraft Minecraftier.
Perfect.
Sense, right?
Absolutely.
And we want to do that by focusing on like certain parts of what Minecraft is, and those are like the creativity, it's like self-expression and intrinsic motivation. So what we want to do with Minecraft, we want to inspire and enable the players to be creative in their own ways and to express themselves in their own like unique, beautiful ways. And in this update, like one way we want to do that is to enable self-expression through representation.
And I think it's so beautiful because, you know, being able to do what you want in Minecraft is the core of what it is. So I'm really excited that this also lets us shape it with the community and all of you being creative. So we do have some awesome features to show. And our first guest, Chi, is here to help us show them. Yes. Welcome, Chi.
Hey.
It's your first Minecraft Live.
Yes.
And can you tell everyone what you do at Mojang?
Well, I love to play the game at Mojang. I'm a fan, but I'm 3D artist on Minecraft.
And you've worked on some super cool animations for the game. Everything from like really scary, like the warden.
Yeah.
And really cute, like the frogs.
Yeah.
There's your
so
frog walk
adorable,
cycle
yeah.
hero.
They just, you know, their stroll is very iconic.
Thank you.
You're so good at it. Like when
Yeah, shout out to frogs, just in general.
it really makes me feel something. So, you're so good at it.
Oh, thank you. I'm so glad to hear it.
So I have a creator question to kick things off for the two of you.
皆さんこんにちは。私は日本のクリエイターのタマです。私からの質問はこちらです。ワイルドアップデートのトレーラーやキーアートにいたのはスティーブとアレックスだけではありませんでした。新しいキャラクターたちは誰でしょうか？
Whoa, she really like saw an Easter egg that we had in there.
Dude,
That's amazing.
Lovely. And yes, we are adding new default skins. And default skins, that's like Alex and Steve. So we see them as like placeholders for the players. And our goal with Minecraft is always that everyone should feel equally welcome in the game. And for us, this is like one step towards reaching that goal.
So new characters. It's funny because having started on the Xbox edition, there were default skin packs that had like a variety of characters already, but I guess that's never really been a thing for Java edition.
I guess everybody that I've always seen playing Java has already had their own skin.
Yeah, but to newcomers to the game, especially with people moving to Java from Bedrock, because they're both available on Game Pass or whatever now, like potentially you just don't have access to that stuff if you're used to the Bedrock system. Or if you're new to Minecraft in general.
Lots of new default skins.
Wow, it's a lovely video. Yes, we've added 7 new skins to Minecraft. These skins are a wonderful collaboration within the company. Yeah, we really care about feeling represented in Minecraft, and I think with these skins, we did that.
Yes. And I think, you're gonna start seeing them a lot.
Yeah. Yes. So, and it's not only that you can play with them in the game, you will also see them in like trailers, key art, merchandise, so you will really get to know these skins or like characters very well.
It's really beautiful because now when someone starts the game, if they haven't made a new skin yet to like represent themselves, they also can pick one of these and feel like it's closer to who they are, which is so awesome. And these awesome skins are coming soon. They weren't ready for live, so you won't see them in everything here, but everybody's going to get to know them a lot. And Agnes, you have something else to tell us about.
Oh yes, there are more features. And the first one we want to show is a very charming
We
block
just talked
called
about this on
Hanging
Monday.
Signs.
Yes.
Yeah,
These
we
hanging
did.
Signs are super colorful, and the players can use strip logs and chains to craft them.
Why can't we mount signs to the underside of something? We called it.
Oh, they're
You
really
called it.
Yeah.
Really beautiful.
We all know the sign blocks and what they do, and these hanging blocks, they're very versatile. You can craft them with every wood types, and they have 3 different states.
Oh, and here you can see the different variants. So the first one here is when you hang the hanging signs from the side of a block. And this one is like the base one. So it has 2 chains, and it's when it hangs under a block that's quite wide. And then, my favorite, you can see it has like a V-shaped chain, and this is when you hang it.
It's cool that they
under something
adjust
that's
depending on
narrow,
what they're
like
attached
under a
to.
fence post
Yeah,
or
this is
under
what
a
I wish
chain.
lanterns
That's
would
so
do.
pretty.
Right? Yeah.
They're really
Well,
cool. I
maybe
love
maybe
how much
after this.
storytelling too, even from that, because adding them to different places is super awesome.
Yeah, we love that when players like use our blocks to do something else, like for example, create like really colorful flags with them. And during our play test, one of these like things we did was
oh, dude, yeah, that looks amazing.
Like to village a house together and create these colorful Yeah, flags.
It's like a festival feeling. I especially like, I think, the crimson and warped wood ones.
They're
So good
really
colors.
pretty. And Agnes, you've said for a long time that your favorite block is the sign block.
Yes, there's a good reason for that. So long time ago, I think maybe 12 years ago, when I played Minecraft, I hadn't really found my play style yet. And then my little brother, he started to place signs on a castle he had built, and he was like, "This family lives here, and this is names of their family, of this family," and that inspired me a lot. So I started to do that too. So I started to like name different villages and families, and like they work with this in this house. So the sign block really inspired me to tell stories and like build my world, like do world building with Minecraft. So I do love signs and the hanging signs.
Yeah, I was going to say, do you think that hanging signs will overtake signs for you?
For me, a bit. But what I like with the hanging signs is that they are a bit more expensive to craft. So I will use both.
Okay, very nice. I love that you are using them for storytelling, but also I loved your creative use of them, coloring the skies, and I can only
Lots of
imagine
potential
like
with
our
glowing.
community is going to do things with this.
Yeah, with glow ink, those are going to
never
be
thought of.
pretty incredible, I think.
so
For like, imagine like festival kind of
Do you have
decorations and
something
stuff.
else to tell us about?
Ooh,
Yep.
yes. We
Oh,
have created a
we just
beautiful
talked
new
about
wood
this
set
Monday.
for bamboo. Like with every
So
wood
this is
set,
the 1.20 we called it update,
you
right?
have the planks, you have fences,
Look at the
you
trapdoors.
have trapdoors, you have doors.
You're a little bit ahead of us, Joel. We didn't
Look at the
quite see them
beautiful
yet, but
patterns.
those
Sorry.
those are
the
beautiful. Those
patterns
look
on the
so cool.
trapdoors. So good.
Yes.
And I love, like they're so good to use as windows, for example.
Yes.
It's a really beautiful new wood set.
It's amazing. And one of our goals with this wood set is that we want players to feel represented, players who grew up with bamboo in real life. And I think that we managed to make this amazing wood set very unique and beautiful. Our artist did a very good job.
Yes, definitely. And you're adding a special block in this set only.
Yes. So the bamboo wood set actually have a block that no other wood sets have, and it's called Bamboo Mosaic, and you can see it here.
Oh, interesting.
I think it's
Stairs
very
and
beautiful.
slabs.
And
Amazing.
when I see this, I'm like, I want to build floors with it. Wouldn't it be very pretty?
It kind of reminds me of like parquet
They're
flooring almost.
Beautiful floors, and I mean it's beautiful in the whole building. And I think what I love about this wood set is how well it matches with other blocks, even though it feels so different too. It
I
like
like just
looks
the straight
so
bamboo
beautiful.
blocks. Those are cool
Yeah.
too.
You can really
Yeah,
mix it,
it's
mix the blocks
another
together.
kind of yellowish
feel
wood
like
type to go with stuff like birch,
and
maybe.
Even the frog lights.
Even the frog legs.
Yeah, but more than that, I mean, I'm very excited because I think if you're able to build your real world in Minecraft, like that's so exciting for people.
Yes.
So
Look at
beautiful
that.
build.
Yeah.
Like
look-
with that it stands like on the fence post and in the mangrove swamp.
Yeah, it's really beautiful. And you're gonna have a boat?
Well, not exactly a boat. We're gonna have a raft. Yeah, it works the same as a boat. It also has a chest, but it looks more adventurous.
And like I love that fantasy of being like on an adventure on a river and then it's on a
Functionally the
raft.
same as
I
boats,
think the
presumably like the same
storytelling
hitbox and
rope
everything, but
build
made of
that is
bamboo.
really lovely.
That's cool.
Yeah, I definitely want to
Yeah.
get stranded on an island, make a raft.
You know, like it's bamboo jungle with
Especially if
like
you
a
just want to have a couple
panda.
different
It's really
things,
fun.
You
I
know,
mean,
moored
I
in the
think
water,
it's
you know,
so-
just as
so
Yeah.
decoration.
cool to add
Yeah, I mean, using them as decoration would be great fun.
I'm ready to go down caving like rivers and stuff.
Oh yes, like in the waterfalls in the caves on a raft. Oh, that sounds fun.
That sounds really fun. Gee, thank you so much for telling
you
us
so
about those
much.
things.
Yeah.
And now we have Near joining us.
Hey, hey.
Hi,
Hey,
Neil.
Near,
His
welcome
trouble.
back.
Thank you. This set is so amazing.
I know it's so cozy.
It's turned nighttime.
Yeah, this is cozy and nice. I'm just waiting for the villagers to come out so we can trade with them.
Oh, Agnes is a villager now.
I don't have my emeralds on me.
Near, for those of you who don't know, what do you do at Mojang?
Sure, I'm a gameplay designer, which basically means I work on some of the new features coming to the game.
Very exciting. You're going to tell us about those, but we have a creator question first.
다가오는 업데이트 중 제일 기대되는 건 어떤 건가요?
Ooh, that's always hard. Just one, she told you.
Well, as a panda, I have to say the bamboo wood set.
Okay, that's a very good choice. And what about you, Agnes?
Yes, that's fair. I think it is a tricky question. I do love all of the features and especially like how they connect together. But if I have to pick one, I actually want to pick one that we haven't showed yet.
Well, you can do that, Agnes.
Good. Well done. It's called the Chiseled Bookshelves.
Right, yeah. So Chisel Bookshelves is the new block that we're adding to the game. And you can interact with it to store 1 to 6 books. But it's not only books, it's also enchanted books and books and quill. So basically, this is where you're going to store the stories of your world.
Interactive
and
bookshelves.
Personally, I'm really excited about it because as a player, I love telling stories.
Kind of a
about
vanilla
my game.
version of mods used to do this like Bibliocraft and stuff, I
just
guess.
Next to my game.
Haven't used a
my
bunch of them for a
computer.
while, but
Recently, I started writing it in the world, sort of storing it in chest. And, that was actually inspired by you, Agnes, and your amazing world.
Yeah, and Agnes, you do the coolest
Great that you can have an empty
storytelling
one,
in
too.
the game.
yeah. Like no more using looms as empty bookshelves, right? Or combining them and having all kinds of options.
I actually write stories both in the game, in books in game, and on a notebook.
That would have been so good when I was building the
And
museum
those
for Survival
stories
Guide.
are from different perspectives. So it's very important. Everything that happens in world need to be written
I'm
from
gonna have a
like
to-do list of
perspective
things to
someone
replace.
that lives in the world. So from like characters in the world, which means, for example, they write like history books, and the
And then
stories
it's a
they
block
write
with capacity as well, so you could presumably measure it with a comparator or something.
But then in the notebook outside the
Move
game,
books around on a
then it's
bookshelf
my
to open up a
perspective.
secret
So that's
door.
like, this is what
Yeah,
really
totally.
happened.
Oh, I just love that. I think there's.
You can do both.
I mean, seeing like the stories written and then being able to pull them from the bookshelves, like I get so excited about it. And these will also have redstone capabilities.
Oh,
Yes.
there we go.
So, using a comparator.
Feeling
we're
rather
actually
smart
going
at the
to be
moment. I'm not
pull
sure
a
about you.
redstone signal that's going to tell you what is the last book that was interacted with. And there's many uses for that, but personally, I'm going to make some secret bookshelf doorways and hide something
Love
in
that.
there.
What are you gonna hide?
Probably my Agnes poster fans. Probably. So, you see, she doesn't need to know.
Okay, hide them.
And Agnes,
fan.
your storytelling. So how would you use that to like tell stories? This secret place.
There's so many opportunities to tell stories. Like the first idea that just pop up, like I want to build a castle and I want like an evil queen to live in this castle and then she can like hide secret things.
Like a spiral staircase down to like a dungeon or something like that. That is so
it would
cool.
be really cool. I want to make an escape.
I think they've added these just so that Batman DLC can have a film-accurate Batcave.
do that, and then I want to play it. That
That's a
sounds
good
better.
idea, too.
I'm pretty
That's
sure
probably
someone
being
else.
made right now.
Yes, exactly. It will be awesome. And I mean, like a lot of the other things, you have this storytelling aspect, but then it's also like they're really beautiful.
They're really, really good to decorate with. So they really have like a fantasy historical feel to them. And that's actually a feel we want for all of Minecraft. And have you noticed the top texture? So you can see it like on the floor there. Now I'm gonna
On
talk
the floor,
yes.
Kind of goes with, I guess, beehives, right? Like the player-crafted beehives.
Also very pretty as a floor.
Okay.
But I
Floors
think-
are important.
I mean, I think that's the cool thing whenever we get any new blocks in the game. It's like being able to use them in
It's an
different ways. So
interesting
you can
name
use them
to it
as
with
the
Chiseled
Chisel
Bookshelf.
Bookshelf, or you can be like,
Yeah, how often you use a chisel on wood, I guess? Woodcrafters, let us know, but that's more like a not carved bookshelf or something. I don't know.
And I'm sure the community is going to come up with so many more things than us.
Oh,
It's
yes,
going to be
oh, yes.
amazing.
And you have one more thing to tell us about.
Yes, that's actually a feature that's quite close to my heart because I grew up interacting a lot with these. So maybe it's time to take a look at some camels.
Camels.
I'm trying not to spoil because I think I'm a good 30 seconds ahead of you.
Yeah, you probably are at this point.
Camels with no knees.
Yeah, right. And the way they have to stand up as a result is pretty
Yeah.
interesting. But a two-person vehicle, that's cool. Like being able to two people being able to ride something like effectively a horse. Oh, and it's got
Yeah.
hops too. Wow, we just saw it leap
Yeah.
over a ravine
Like a helicopter.
with the ears flapping and everything. That's cute.
Those are awesome. Tell us more about camels.
Yeah, so like I said, they're really close to my heart because I remember growing up, going on field trips and sort of seeing them and riding them, and actually have a really distinct memory of being this small kid on this huge animal and sitting on them when on the ground. And when they gave up, the camels don't really just get up immediately. They're like indecisive, rocking back and forth sort of thing. And that was a terrifying experience as a kid, but so amazing as well. And we talked about how this update is a lot about self-expression through representation. And I just love that so many more people now around the world can sort of see an experience they remember and experience from their life in the game.
Yeah, and share it with someone who maybe hasn't experienced it.
Right.
Because that was the thing I really loved during the development process of Camels, because you had talked so much about like your experiences as a child and how tall the camels is and how they stand up in this like super weird way. And then when I got to play with them in the game, I'm like, it feels like you told me about, and I thought that was cool.
That's really cool.
Okay, and Agnes, here's a hard-hitting question for you. Camels, horses, why both?
Wow, this is an important question. So we want to keep update Minecraft for like a lifetime, for 50 years or more. And that means that each thing we add needs to really fit within the Minecraft ecosystem. And this is of course true for camels as well. And since camels are a rideable mob and horses are too, it was very important for us to really create a unique experience.
Yeah, we worked quite hard on that, trying to find a different niche in the game for both and really make the experience different and unique. And there's many differences. For example, horses are quite agile. Strafing right and left is really quick in Minecraft. And camels are quite big animals, so they're a bit slower. But if you find a long stretch, like a straight stretch, maybe a relatively flat ground like in deserts, you can get quite fast actually, and that's helped by this.
It's going to be interesting to see if you like race a horse versus a camel, which one's going to be faster, and what you can, what advantages you can get in racing.
Which we all know are the enemy of horses in Minecraft. I think it's pretty cool.
Really cool.
And another unique thing with
Camel
the
ice
camels is that
racing,
you can be two
2023.
players on a
Right.
same time.
And there the two of you are taking a trip together.
so nice.
Lovely adventure in the Badlands, and we know that many of our players really enjoy to play together with their friends, so it feels good to add a feature where you really can go on an adventure together.
Yes, now I'm happy that if we added it, finally Agnes might invite me to play some more. Maybe, I don't know.
Of course I will.
And I mean, they're great for storytelling, and you have this like, okay, I'm taking you on an adventure, come see what I'm doing, but you also, you know,
there's another side to them. Yeah, exactly. I think that duality is really, really interesting because, like we said, when you ride with them, you're with a friend, you're on an adventure. It's very sort of storytelling, adventure-y. But there's another side because you can actually sprint with camels, and they go quite a bit faster when you do. So, for example, in an action scenario at night, you can be out with your friend, and Agnes, for example, is using the camel and moving around and dashing out of danger, and I'm with a bow, can sort of shoot and attack behind, and that collaboration I think is really, really cool.
And as
It's like you have a wingman.
the many mobs can't reach us
And the
because
height
the camel
makes a
is
difference
so
too.
tall.
Yeah, it really does.
Finally, I get to feel how it is to be tall.
I see. I know, when they're not attacking you, they actually look quite cute, I think, zombies.
A little bit cute.
Maybe ugly cute.
yeah, I mean, I think that I'm definitely going to be the one, you know, like hopefully driving the camel. I don't want to be the one aiming the bow, but I do. I mean, it's really cool. It adds a lot, especially to be able to, you know, maybe you're doing a little both. You're having a nice stroll and then you're like, it turned night. Let's let's fight
This
together.
into gear, yeah.
But I mean, I have to point out that they're also just incredibly cute.
They are, and especially they are ugly cute, I think. Dopey.
Yeah, and as we can see, we also have camel babies because you can breed them. And something pretty interesting is that the item you're going to use to feed and breed them is actually a cactus.
And I thought that was so interesting when we researched camels. I didn't know that real world camels eat cactus.
Yeah, I've seen many videos of camels eating cactus. I thought it was really, really interesting. And also, cactus is sort of an item that doesn't have too many uses in the game, so it's always nice, again, being respectful of all features, sort of adding more uses to it.
That's really awesome. Near, thank you so much for telling us about those amazing features.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Near.
On October 27th, during Minecraft Now, you'll be able to hear more about these cool new features. And Agnes, you have one surprise for us.
Yes, we do have a surprise. So previous years, you have been able to playtest the new features like many, many months after live. But this year, we're very excited about this. This year, you will actually be able to playtest the new features in betas, snapshots, and previews just a few days
Cool, so they're
from
starting
now.
the snapshot series sooner than later. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
I mean, it makes sense because they've said the whole point is that these features are the ones which are basically done, or at least like ready for production, and they're still working on the other stuff behind the scenes. So why not release these now and get feedback now?
For update 1.20, and there will be more to come throughout the year. It's almost the end of the show, and we only have the mob vote results left. But let's take a look back at everything we announced today.
Honestly, like, I expect a lot of people are going to be disappointed in how few features they seem to have announced, because that's like, what, 5 different things?
Yeah.
If you include the mob vote. But like, this is their new development philosophy, is like, we can't tell you about features that you're going to get excited about, but then we have to change. So it's going to be an adjustment for the community, but I think it's going to be a good thing overall.
Well, I've been asking for smaller, more frequent updates for a long time.
Yeah, and if this means that they have enough of these features on the go that they can get this update out maybe like early after Christmas, they said 2023. So maybe like February, March, potentially early spring, like, then that's a lot sooner than something that they'd have to develop over the course of like 6 to 8 months, you know?
Yeah, and I think too that not having a theme yet, I think it also removes that theme putting expectations into players' heads.
I think they said they have a theme that they're discussing internally, but they're not announcing the name of it. So again, it's about managing player expectation, especially after what's happened the last couple of years.
Yeah, I mean, and they've repeated themselves a number of times, but I think it's only because we've been consuming like Minecraft.net articles, this program, like we've heard it a number of times, but some people might have been hearing it for the very first time today, right?
Now it's time to see who you all voted into the game. Vu!
Hello.
What are you doing?
I'm farming. But you want the mob vote results.
We do. I mean, the carrots.
Vu's got a netherite hoe.
Wait, I want to get everybody out here.
Nice throw.
Thank you.
So this is important because this winning mob actually got over half of the total votes.
So
Wow.
1.25 million.
Okay, that's cool.
And the winner is...
The Sniffer.
Hey! All right, I'll take it. I'm still absolutely amazed that the Tuff Golem didn't get more votes. Like, it was down to the Rascal versus the Sniffer. That's wild.
Yeah,
From
it is
all
really
of us
strange.
at Mojang Studios, thank you so much. Bye!
Bye!
All right, there we go.
Oh,
That
we're seeing
is
some animation of the camel now. Subtle.
Funny. I like it.
The white frog almost looks blue.
Yeah. They've had a lot of fun with the frogs. I can tell they've had a lot of fun with the frogs.
Well, the beat that they have for the trailer is just so earwormy, you know, like it's happy, it's funky, it's modern, it's fun. Like they nailed. I think they nailed the. I want to say, I guess the easiest way to say it is like the non-verbal marketing. Like it's just it's a bunch of cute characters bopping to modern like kind of dance music.
Yeah.
And all just kind of like following one another. No words are exchanged, barely any noises are made. They just kind of like, you know, even when they come up to somebody that isn't grooving with the music, they just kind of stare at them, groove until they catch on. and then they all go together. Like it's really, really well done in terms of like the subtlety of it. In seeing all that though, and seeing the recap, you know, like they just recapped all the stuff that we saw in the video. Legends does look a little muted in color compared to everything. Like it really felt kind of hard to see what was going on. Like even the characters trying to discern what was happening on the screen was like, I don't know. Like I feel like I'd want that to be more vibrant, perhaps.
Yeah, I mean, it may just be the way things capture. Things are going to look different on different devices as well. So, like, maybe graphics settings can play a role, and maybe they're not quite finished, like, finalizing the look of everything. But it may just be an art choice. It may just be the style they've gone with for that game in particular. So I guess we'll see.
Could be the confrontation too, because that was at the piglin infestation area.
Yeah.
I can't remember what they called it, but it was basically like the battle zone, not like the lush forest or jungle that you were traveling through.
Yeah. That's where like the horde is gathering and everything. Yeah. So what do you want to talk about? What do you want to go through first? I have a bunch of stuff that the Minecraft team has kindly provided to us so that we can take a second look at some of the features that might have gone past a little fast during the presentation.
Maybe I could. Are you going to put that up on your stream? I could
Yes. Yeah. If you want to tune into my stream and just mute it, then
just mute it. Yeah, and just give me a second here.
So I think the first big thing to cover is that 1.20 doesn't have a name. So I've been calling it the Nameless update, at least for now. But it's got a variety of features that we know about, and the development team has said they're not going to release news of these features until they're certain they're making it into the game, so that they don't risk disappointing players like they have in previous years. And I think this is important. It's an important sign of the relationship with the community changing a little bit, and understanding that they have to manage some player expectations, because game development for them is a process that is a lot more fluid than it is in the minds of people watching events like this and thinking, well, they've announced that, so it's definitely arriving. Sometimes stuff just comes up. Fireflies don't work out as a food source for frogs. There's a few bits and pieces that they feel like, no, this should probably change. But if they've already announced it to players, it sounds like they have to stress out about whether or not that's going to be something players will accept, and when to communicate that and how to communicate that is just getting in the way of them making the update in the first place.
I think that speaks again to your point earlier about the mob vote, about the reminder of how young the majority of the player base is. And, you know, you and I can understand that, you know, concept art is not a promise, but when younger players have access to the internet and that kind of snowball of, I don't want to say misinformation, but assumption, you know, just kind of gets out there and everybody kind of jumps on board, then I'm sure that it feels very much to Mojang that they get held accountable for not following through on what is a in-community promise, but not one that has come down from Mojang, right?
And as people are saying in the chat, like, there are Minecraft's resurgence among younger kids means they can't be as casual anymore, because it feels less like they're having a conversation among peers when they're talking to the community, and much more they're addressing this huge, broad, like, if you think about the amount of people who play Minecraft on a regular basis, it's like, you know, entire populations of countries, basically. You're talking on that level of scale. So effectively, it's like they're talking to a huge proportion of players. And you're going to find some dissenting voices, you're going to find some people disappointed, and you're still going to have to manage expectations even with this show, because I've already seen people in chat saying, but they only announced like 2 things, and for a start they announced more than that, and the numbers are important when you're talking about an update on this scale, but also they must have other features in the pipeline that they're just not ready to tell you about because they don't want you to whine about it if they change. And communicating that is going to disappoint some people as well. So it's really about finding a balance between, you know, allowing players the time to get familiar with these features and the excitement of announcing new features as we go, but not about, like, disappointing people because they haven't announced too much stuff ahead of time. Like, there's got to be a balance that they're finding this time.
And I think too that they're addressing a lot like smaller things. And if they're addressing smaller things, I think that bodes well for the long-term potential for this update, right? Like if the things that they are ready to announce that are coming into change are the things like hanging signs, bamboo as a wood, bookshelf changes, a new mob in the camel. Like, I feel like all of that is not really indicative of what I would say is the overall theme. Like, I feel like there has to be a larger umbrella that they're fitting all of this stuff into. So if they're revealing this stuff now, I think it's probably the smaller things that they're revealing now, because those would, if assuming a little bit about development, the smaller things would probably be easier to polish, easier to get to a point where they feel ready to share it, where they know, like, yes, this is coming, this is coming to the game. Whereas something bigger and broader, perhaps thematically, is just like, this is still not quite ready to be announced. We don't want to, overpromise. So the larger features, the more exciting features, I think they're keeping to themselves for now.
Yeah, because those are going to be the ones that need the most tweaking internally. Like, you imagine them taking the same process with something like the Deep Dark, and then if they announce that without promising it for 1.17 and then having to split that and then having to save the Deep Dark for 1.19, suddenly you get this incredible horror update with a brand new biome, new mechanics, the Warden, like all of that stuff. If that's a surprise, then stuff like that is huge. But the problem with the Deep Dark is, like, by the time it came out in 1.19, some people were already talking about being sick of hearing about it, and so people are less likely to interact with it just because it's finally in the game now. And that's the kind of stuff that they want to do.
I mean, it's good news for us in terms of snapshots starting very soon. Like, that gives us something new to talk about every single week,
And it means we're not talking about all of this stuff in one big chunk and then waiting around for it all to happen, right? And I think that's cool. So let's look at what we do have. And for a start, we'll talk about this briefly, because I think to you and I, it's not the biggest deal, but I think in terms of what they've talked about, representation and inclusivity, that's clearly a key theme for them. You've got a variety of player skins now. For the Java Edition launcher, that's huge, because the Java Edition gives you 2 default skins, it's Steve or Alex. I think for Bedrock Edition players, having a character creator built in, there's some free options there, there's a variety of free skin packs available, it's going to be less of a big deal. But I think this is also Minecraft wanting to use these characters in brand announcements, right? Like, these characters first appeared in the screenshots for the Wild update, and that meant people were thinking, is that just a developer skin? Is that something else? Is like, this is a series of characters who can look a little bit different to just Steve and Alex, and it expands Minecraft's brand to feel more inclusive of people of all different skin tones, all different nationalities. And in this case, like, the character on the far left seems to have like maybe a prosthetic arm or something like that as well. So, like, they're thinking about everybody. There's like little bits and pieces that I think everybody can see themselves in a default Minecraft character.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's great. It's a very straightforward change. I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that are going to be happy about it, especially like when you're dealing with younger kids coming into the game and the impression that gives them, Yeah,
exactly. And they talked about Minecraft being a game that is this global and has this kind of impact and is this formative to kids' ideas of what they want to do. You look at the charity efforts, you look at, some of the stuff they've done with education, some of the presentations that they had today about Education Edition and how you can learn about, like, Nobel laureates and that kind of thing. Allowing kids to see their aspirations in Minecraft and reflecting that in the diversity of Minecraft's, like, canon cast is a really interesting thing. And it's just the thing they did with Minecraft Dungeons, right? Like, they had a bunch of default skins for that were different from your standard Steve and Alex thing. So I think it's nice for them to add variety to it.
Yeah, no, I mean, it makes a lot of sense. And I think that the self-expression through representation was something was mentioned a number of times from a couple of different developers as they were, having people kind of prayed out onto the Minecraft stage and talk. And I think it's cool that they're, extending that through not just the skins, but like some of the things that they've added in terms of game features, or will be adding as far as game features go, are talking about like where people around the world have grown up, what building
Yeah.
materials have been used, you know, in your local area. I remember they talked about that a while ago when they first introduced bamboo to the game at all.
Yeah,
They
and,
talked
and
about-
mud blocks happened
Yeah.
later, and that was the same thing,
Yeah.
right?
Yep, same thing. And then of course the camel, you know, just, you know, with having more of a Middle East, you know, sort of like what's the word I'm looking for? Experience. Just kind
Yeah.
of bringing that into the game.
Yeah, I see a few people in the chat asking if each of them are going to have names, and I believe they will. I don't see them bringing out this level of characters and also not having them with different
Right.
names. I don't know if they
Mhm.
said anything about this in the stage show. They didn't obviously like rattle off a list of names, because I think you're probably going to find yourselves introduced to those slowly, or maybe through a Minecraft.net article, or once you find these characters in the launcher, they're each going to have names like Steve, Alex. It's not just going to be like default player 2, and they can't necessarily say like, this is the Asian character, this is the black character, or the African character, because
Right.
you'll find people identifying with those differently, or with different like regionality. Like there are black people all over the world, not just in one place. So you're going to find that there are going to be people who don't necessarily identify with a nationality, or you know, maybe don't identify with certain words used to describe skin tone. So they're probably going to have more like human names that people might recognize as, hey, I've got a friend called that, or something, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
They're probably going to stick to that, and probably not give them like fantasy style names either, because it's more rooted in the real world.
No, I think they're going to be more basic. You might have more common names, just things that more people would be able to recognize, I think.
Yeah, which makes a lot of sense to me. Going back to what you were saying about people's, you know, different experiences and stuff, and that informing what they want to add to Minecraft. Let's talk about bamboo and camels. Where do you want to go first?
Let's go get bamboo.
Okay.
I would say that's because we just talked about this on Monday. I don't think it came up as something specific. It was more about like it was a side comment after one of our emails, I think, and you were talking about. I mentioned bamboo as a building material, and you mentioned like dried bamboo, like changing the color of bamboo from green to like the beige when it's all dried out. Much like we see in scaffolding, you know, when we have scaffolding in the game.
Yeah.
And the color that it has. And I mean, like, I think it looks pretty straightforward. It looks like a bunch of bamboo strapped together, you know,
Yeah.
in a block form. I think it's great. It's nice vertical texture. We don't have a lot of those in Minecraft. The fact that you can make bamboo fences, bamboo pressure plates, there's stairs and slabs. The trapdoors look really cool.
It has built-in tables in the form of scaffolding as well, because it looks
Yeah.
very similar to that color palette.
Yeah, I mean, I can see if you're doing any kind of like Asia Pacific build, those trapdoors for windows are going to look fantastic.
I'm just going to use them for Windows regardless, I think,
Yes,
because I
yeah.
love that design. That's such a neat design. It'd look really good in like Middle Eastern builds, you know, as
Mhm,
well. Like I think
mhm.
you can see those being used as long as the color works for your build palette. You can use them all over the place.
Yeah, all kinds of places. And there was one, it was a bamboo mosaic, I think they called it. There's one particular block that they're
Yes,
adding. That
you can kind of see it in this screenshot, but I have a couple of other screenshots that I can share, and the
Yes, along the top there.
The
Yeah.
video that I've got from the live presentation has a couple of different houses that they built, and so there's a couple with stairs and slabs in there and fences. You see the trapdoors, a
Mhm.
whole bunch, and that all looks like the regular bamboo. And there are a couple of these that seem to have changed since the video that they distributed to content creators. So this one was all bamboo. But if you take a look back at this picture, I guess, it's the slabs or stairs that they're using along the roof line in that house on the left-hand picture. That's like, it's kind of 2 and 2. Like it's little squares of almost 2 planks of bamboo kind of shuffled together like that. That looks really cool.
Yeah, and that's the kind of thing where like the bamboo walls, they look very rustic. It looks like something you'd see kind of like outside. Whereas
Yeah.
that bamboo mosaic block, you could put that in the floor of a modern city cafe. You could put that in the floor of your cave base, and it's going to look like something else. It's going to have whatever feel you decide to add to it by its surroundings. It's going to either feel old or it's going to feel new. And that to me is a cool feature, like having that kind of flexibility. The fact that they've added a new wood type to me surprises me because of how many blocks that adds to the palette.
Yeah. But then again, they've committed, and I think that's
Yeah.
a really a really interesting change, and it's an interesting thing that it's being used as a wood type when bamboo itself is grown so differently to the rest of the trees that we have, right? Like it's grown like, you know, more organically in a sense, in that it grows by stages instead of just being like, poof, there's a tree.
Yeah.
But it's already used to create sticks. You know, there's a variety of things there that I'm wondering what the crafting recipes would be for some of these blocks. But
can you use bamboo wood blocks to make chests? Because if so, you don't have to worry about tree farming for chests anymore.
Yeah, that's an interesting thought. It's like,
right?
You've got the crafting recipes open to you, and I mean, chests are wood agnostic. They take like any amount of wood in any combination, so you'd presume you could use bamboo for that as well.
Right? I mean, because you just automatically harvest your bamboo. You can have chests up and running in no time. All you need is one piece of bamboo.
Yes.
Right?
A small bat is asking, did we see bamboo signs? We did. Yes, there were also bamboo signs, which presumably now means bamboo hanging signs as well, which we'll get to in a moment, but that's definitely an option.
Yeah, I mean, like I don't have a lot more to say about bamboo. I mean, it's one of those things where like it looks all cool, and they very often show them in screenshots at Minecraft Live and other features where they've used a lot of it. And for me, the real strength of a block is when I can use it in like little bits here or combine it with a bunch of different things. And I don't really know the strength of a new edition until you get a chance to play with it. Like famously, I remember not liking Deep Slate, but I love it now. So
yeah,
you know, it's one of those things that you kind of have to have a chance to play around with. And the fact that it's coming to a snapshot to play around with soon is pretty cool.
Yeah. I mean, that's something else about this is we're getting these features like in a few days. They said not even a matter of weeks. They said days. So I think it's very cool that we'll be able to play around with the stuff, give feedback, and again, there's still the opportunity for small things like art and textures and things to change from what we see here at Minecraft Live, but the feature is the thing I think that's important to a lot of people. As long as they don't change that trapdoor, I'll be happy.
Yeah, really though? That looks really cool.
Yeah. What do you think of the rafts? Do you think you'd use a bamboo raft over a boat just for the flavor, or are you more interested in just like, it's a boat, whatever?
I think it's a cool way to differentiate a boat. You know, like it's one of those things, like we do have boats of all different wood types, and it could be something as simple as like making the boat look like bamboo might have looked funny, you know, like the actual model that they have, it might have been too thin in places. Like it looks like a carpenter created the boat rather than just us strapping planks together, you know?
Yeah.
And I feel like, I mean, the raft is fun. It has that kind of vibe. I think a different kind of boat is good, a different silhouette. You mentioned it probably has the same hitbox. I think you're probably right. It looks to be roughly the same size, just that the model sits a little bit lower in the water.
Based on the video here, you have a chest raft and you have the Steve character in this video sitting forward in it, assuming you could have a second passenger. You could carry a mob on the raft, like raft with a parrot on it or something like that. I feel like mobs are going to look so much better in this than they do in boats, the way some models of mobs like clip through the sides of boats, or they look like they shouldn't really be in there. Like I think it's going to be much cooler looking to have mobs on rafts. You could even imagine having like, I don't know, like a pet shop, for example. I haven't thought this idea super well through, but like having a bunch of mobs sitting on rafts, and then it's like you just drive off with the one you want, and it's a way better way of presenting them. They're on like a little floating platform instead of them being in a boat, you know? Like maybe have like a series of, you know, cats or whatever on rafts or something. I don't know. You could also, even if you wanted to have like you know, a couple of extra build ideas, these could almost look like tatami mats in Japanese houses, if you wanted to have something like raised up off the floor a little way or something, like a little bamboo kind of table. I mean, the oars are a bit of a problem in that respect, but like you could work those into interior decor in a way that I don't think you can some of the other boats.
Yeah, I agree. They're a little green with the strapping that they've got on them, and I don't know whether that's just, you know, an illusion that it's affecting the bamboo, but they do look a little bit more green than the beige counterparts in the walls. But it could also be because it's a horizontal surface, which always looks a little bit different in Minecraft than a vertical surface. But yeah, like I think with the boats, it's almost too bad because I feel like boats in general could be more versatile if the oars were not always out. Like if you got out of a boat, my Canadian is showing, then you'd be able to like if the oars would like fold flat somewhere or just not show up, you know, until you got in it, then I think you could do a lot more with them in general. But that's a tiny.
Let's move on to camels, because those are opposite the bamboo here on our picture. Let's talk about these. So the animation is bizarre of them getting up, but I think that's part of the appeal of them, I guess, and it was part of the story for Ulraf, talking about like his first time riding one of these things and it getting up. I wonder if players can mount them while they're sitting down, and that's like their cue to stand up, or if you'll have to like leap onto a camel's back from there.
They did it, but it was in the rendered animation. The Steve in the rendered animation joke at the end of the whole presentation was on the camel's back the whole time, even when it sat down. So it's possible. I like the look of them if they stay still behind a sunset. Like, it's a really cool cinematic vibe. Like, you've seen that kind of image in like Indiana Jones and stuff like that before, right? The silhouette. I like that the ears flap, and the movement is odd. I kind of wish they had taken this opportunity to like give a Minecraft mob knees.
Yeah,
there must be some sort of inside rule against it, because when I think camel, like as a cartoonist, like the first thing that I think of is the hump.
They're like 50% knees.
And then the next thing I think of is like, don't they have like really weird legs? Like, I'm pretty sure, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that camels have knees in the same way that people do. Like, don't all their knees bend forward, or is it the front ones bend forward and the back ones bend backwards? I can't remember, but they're not like a horse. I think they're different than horses. I could be wrong.
I haven't studied camel anatomy before, and I may do now, just to see if we can get a consensus on that.
I could also be remembering like a Disney version of a camel, which they could have changed it just for personality and fun, right? Like, I don't know. I don't know for sure, but yeah, like I do feel like the movement is a little bit strange. It's cool that they have the dash attack. I saw a couple people in chat mentioning, like, because camels are known for their jumping ability. I'm just like, well, it is. I mean, we're talking about Minecraft here. It's fun. What I thought was funny, and I had to stifle a laugh because I knew I was ahead of you in the presentation, was when the camel jumped over the ravine and its legs shot out behind it, kind of like a squid, and just kind of went like blah, 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 blah. It's just kind of like, what was that? It really looks strange. It's not the most graceful of movements, but cool ability though. Like, it's neat that you can do. And because we were talking on the show a couple weeks ago about trying to introduce movement in Minecraft that makes the elytra a separate appeal, not necessarily better than the elytra, but just gives the elytra a specific purpose versus not having a two-person vehicle mob that you mount that you can ride is cool. The fact that one person can shoot, like, this is the snow speeder on Hoth for Minecraft, right?
It is.
You've got you've got your gunner facing backwards, you've got you're driving and you're shooting mobs out the back. And I mean, God, it even looks like an AT-AT. So like, it's one of those things that I think is really interesting and adds some dynamic. I mean, it would be really fun to do that. Like, if you're starting off in an SMP, if you're doing a 2-player special, thing with a friend, like starting off in Minecraft, having the ability to look both in front of you and behind you and move together and not have to constantly be like communicating to each other where you are. Like, I feel like that's really, really cool, especially when you've got players that may not be on audio with one another. And so that all those kind of like gameplay things, like they did a really good job, I think, in addressing their concerns of why would you ride a camel instead of a horse, right? And I think they've definitely given it some strengths that horses don't have. Potential for mini games, like, I mean, I mentioned during the stream, like, camels look like they run pretty fast. How fast do they run on ice? If you make a camel tunnel in the nether and coat it with blue ice, like, do you go like snot? Because that could be really funny and fun and effective. Before you have elytra, it could be very easy to get like far in the nether,
And you also have the 2-player thing being an advantage. Like, the only other 2-player mount really is a boat, right? So like, you have a land-based way of keeping 2 players together at the same speed on the same entity, and it's really interesting. For folks who were saying in the chat it doesn't look like you need saddles for them, there's a camel on the right-hand side of the image here has a saddle, and remember, if you can sit on a horse without needing a saddle, but you can't control the direction that it goes. So presumably you'd still need a saddle to hop onto a camel and actually control which direction it went. Otherwise it would just free roam based on its AI.
Yeah, and I like that they've added straps. So rather than just the saddle, there's like full straps around the camel, and there's like a bridle as well.
It looks kind of legit. Yeah, I think it kind of, it not only shows, yes, this camel is tamed, owned by somebody, what have you, but like it looks more realistic to how you'd have to saddle up a camel in the first place. I presume these are just going to spawn in deserts, by the way. I don't think I can't remember them talking especially about where they spawned, but all of the footage of them was in deserts and around desert villages. So it'd be curious to see where they are, and also that this isn't something that we had as part of the proposed desert biome update that we voted on a while ago that would have had meerkats. So these are potentially adding diversity to desert biomes without the thinking of we're bringing that desert update back. That's something entirely different.
Yeah, and meerkats is something I would almost put in like more of a savanna situation than I would in a desert situation. Now, like having seen the camels, something that I don't know if you caught this because I might have spoken over it during the video, but the fact that zombies can't reach you when you're on the back of a camel is really interesting.
Husks especially, in the desert.
Yeah, I thought that was an interesting combo because, again, there's a lot of players I find that don't want to engage. Like they just want to sleep the night away. They don't want to deal with that stuff. And I feel like, having that option to be up safe on a camel, again, adds to the appeal of like, well, this is why you might want to do a camel in the desert instead of a horse.
There's some folks wondering in the chat what items they would drop, whether it be leather, whether it would be sand, or the cactus because they eat cactus. I doubt they'll have them dropping sand, because otherwise players are just going to farm the camels, and I don't think they want people to do that necessarily. And again, like, they love to take renewable sand and keep it as far from players as possible. But I think there's potential for them to just drop leather because they're a rideable mount, just like horses. I'm not certain. They could drop cactus potentially, but that'd be one of those things like polar bears dropping salmon, right? Like it doesn't really affect the player much in any particular direction.
Yeah, I think too that having the extra use for cactus is nice as a food and breeding, resource for the camels. That to me is a good way to go. I'm glad it's not hay. I'm glad they went with something else because I like when they've add new features to Minecraft and then they also kind of say, okay, well, this new feature, if we adjust it right, we can also increase the use of other blocks that maybe are underused or do not have as many uses in the game as other, as some blocks. And I like that kind of combination.
The way Nier phrased it, I really liked, where he said respecting old features. And that's that's a really interesting concept with a game that has this amount of longevity. They're still trying to find ways of cycling that stuff back into the game, which is one of the reasons, to cut away to something I don't have a video for because they didn't have in-game footage of it, but it's one of the reasons I'm quite happy the Sniffer one is because it gives people a reason to go to ocean ruins other than just to look for the drowned and see if the drowned has a trident that you can farm from them or anything. Like, I think it's going to be really interesting for players to have a more almost like peaceful reason to go there, and maybe peaceful players will be able to find some interesting stuff there if they're looking for decorative plants to use and that kind of stuff, because we're getting the Sniffer now.
Yeah, I'm excited about the Sniffer. Like that to me is a big win. Much along with you, like I definitely felt surprised when the Tuff Golem was the first one that they revealed did not make the cut.
The power of those younger players voting for the Rascal. That's all I can assume it was, because the Rascal has not been doing well in the communities we've talked to.
No, exactly. It's like it's an enchanted pickaxe. Like, come on, guys. Like, you can do this in any other way. But yeah, the Sniffer to me, again, like keeping with all the things we said on Monday about being a unique mob, like it's big. I'm still hoping they do give it 6 legs because I think it could be really cool if it really looks like it's outworldly, if it could really make it look like it's from somewhere else. But seeing the larger mobs in Minecraft Legends that they showed off, I think the Sniffer is going to be really cool. I don't know, even though they've just added the camel, I think my hopes and crossed fingers of riding the Sniffer, I think, are going to be diminished because now that there's a camel, it's like I can't see them adding another one. I still think it would be fun. It doesn't have to be fast. I think it could be fun if it was fast in water. But other than that, I think,
a mob that's like an amphibious car, basically. Like it turns into a faster vehicle when it's in water.
Yeah. It's like the riding snail from Neverending Story, right? Like it looks big and slow, but you get onto it and it's a racing snail, and you just take off and go like the wind. So that could be kind of fun. But yeah, everything that they've said about the Sniffer so far makes sense. Like it. I agree with you about the ruins underwater. I'm glad that it's something that you're going to be interacting with over time. It's not going to be like, well, I found one and I have the thing, and now I can just reproduce the thing. That's assuming that the flower that they give you is not something you can just bone meal and get tons of, because then unfortunately you're going to deal with one Sniffer one time, and once you've got the thing, you're done.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that in order to continue to grow that new flower, whatever that happens to be, we'll find out over the coming weeks, I'm sure, is that you have to interact with the Sniffer repeatedly, because I think that is a more interesting and more diverse game mechanic.
Yeah, definitely. Let's move on from the Sniffer. Let's talk about bookshelves, chiseled bookshelves specifically, and hanging signs. Should we talk about the hanging signs first? Because that was the first thing they announced, and we were like, we just talked about this on the show.
Yeah, so we had someone write in and ask about like what block mechanics or what mechanics in the game that exist would we like to steal and then apply to a different block
to combine, basically.
Yeah. So I mean, we talked about candles and sea pickles and applying that to flowers. We talked about ladders and scaffolding and kind of interchanging those. And then I mentioned signs, and I wish that signs like trapdoors could be placed on the undersides of things, on the right sides, and all that kind of stuff. And I was thinking about Satisfactory, where you can actually place those signs that they give you upside down, and it's just like you said, Johnny. Like it's the single post of the sign just hangs upside down in Satisfactory. In Minecraft, though, they've gone one further, and instead of just hanging the sign upside down, you're going to have to craft it with a chain. So I'm assuming there's probably some sort of iron nugget or chain combination to get a hanging sign. You probably have to make the chain first and then craft it into a sign. But you can, on the side of blocks, you get a horizontal pole that the sign then hangs from, so that it hangs out like a sign of a shop would, right? So you can read it as you're walking down the street. They hang directly underneath the block with two chains, and they can hang from something like a fence post or another chain and have like a little Y kind of connection. And they showed in the footage that they have the ability to be rotated like signs when they're hung from underneath something that is a single pivot point. So it doesn't always have to be facing the four cardinal directions. You can actually have it face at different angles, just like you can with a normal sign, which I think opens up all kinds of opportunities.
Not only that, there are going to be 10 different colors of these, provided that they provide one for the bamboo wood set. So you're going to have like the street scene that they showed with all of the signs hanging from each other as though it's like colorful decorations for some sort of like festival. They have mangrove, warped, and crimson in there as the more colorful ones, and then you have the diversity of the natural wood palette, I think is something that adds a lot of decorative touch. Looking at the footage that we're seeing right now, it seems like they have a much more limited amount of text you can put on there compared to, like, the line length is different to a standard sign, because if you're looking at some of the signs in the footage here, it says the word something. That's a 9-letter word that takes up the entirety of the length of that sign. So that is maybe something that would change up in development if based on player feedback, if they're like, I can't write my full name on here because it's 10 letters or something. But you might also find that that's something that stays, and it's a compromise between which types of sign you use. You find shorter ways of expressing things that are just snappy and catch people's attention like a street sign would.
And I like the fact that they're a lot thicker than existing signs in Minecraft too. They look smaller, like they look like they take up less space in general in terms of pixels, but they're also thicker. I feel like they feel more Minecrafty to me. The signs to me have always felt like a little bit strange, a little bit outside of the kind of blocky chunkiness that we get in Minecraft. And I feel like these, it's like you want the 16-bit texture, but an 8-bit model to make it feel kind of beefier in Minecraft. And I feel like they're nailing this. It looks like it's more the width of a trapdoor, which I think is interesting. And it makes me wonder, like, if you can layer these, like if you can get them in combinations with a trapdoor, like what happens if you start lining up signs next to one another, not because you want them to be signs, but because you want them to be hanging over the cannon ports of a ship. You know, like if you want them to be used as things that are not signs. One of the strengths of Minecraft is like players can come up with ways to use things that are not the original designed use of the actual item.
Yeah.
I know that we mentioned this live when we were chatting, but the idea of combining these with glow ink, for decorations and stuff like that. You could have neon signs in your modern city, like
cyberpunk style build with a bunch of those hanging from a hotel or something, and just like make emoji letters using like blocks of emoji text. Like you could do stuff like that all the time. It'd be great.
Yeah, I agree. I do. It does make me think. Again, going back to that email. What mechanics would you like to steal from one thing and apply to another? I'd like to steal hanging sign mechanics and attach them to lanterns.
Yeah, lanterns. Totally.
Lanterns already hang upside down. They already place flat on the block, but they don't go on the side of blocks, which is something that you feel that they should do. And signs now do something that I feel like they should have done a long time ago. Like, just imagine how easy it's going to be now to have like hanging signs in your nether hub, like pointing you where to go. Like it's. I mean, especially if you can somehow use text. Or text characters to make an arrow look decent on these signs, then you could have like neon arrows. Go left here, go right there. It's gonna be very
neon
fun.
arrows without using magenta glazed terracotta. What a concept! Lycantheus X in chat asks a very pertinent question. I wonder if the text is visible from both sides. That's a really interesting point, because like the way we see some of these signs used, they can hang from something and be read from both sides. There are some that are hanging against a wall, so you wouldn't need the back, but then the ones that hang out from the front of a shop, like the something sweet example they have here, like that's attached to a post, and is it going to be readable from both sides or not? That's an interesting thought.
Yeah, and that would matter too, because if you've got a sign that says like Johnny's base and there's an arrow going left, if that arrow is pointing right on the other side of the sign, like if it's reversed, like if you had, I would imagine that you'd have to have a single UI. So it's either nothing on the back or the same thing on the back, at which point you'd have to be careful about arrows, because if it gets flipped, that would be strange.
That's going to have some interesting use cases that I expect they'll probably just have them be one-sided just for simplicity, but I would love to see them do something more clever with that.
If they had two sides, that would be cool, because then you could get jokey with it, are you worthy of entering, and then on the backside, nope.
Stuff like
stuff like that could be kind of fun.
A this way up, like read the other side, and then it says the same thing on the back or whatever. Yeah, like
for directions, see back.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah, PTO. Right. Let's talk about the other half of this little collage here. We have Chiseled Bookshelves. We noted that the name is kind of odd. I guess it's like it works for chiseled stone having the same kind of like carved designs in it, but I feel like carved bookshelf seems like a more logical name for it being based in wood. But aside from that, the functionality of these looks pretty cool. It seems like you can interact with each of the 6 spaces of the block individually. It didn't have a GUI. You just look at the book that you want to take off and you right click and you get it. And they're compatible with regular books, books and quills, and enchanted books. And it retains which one of those you place in each slot of the bookshelf inventory. So that's it's kind of an interesting prospect.
Yeah, it's a very cool idea. I hope that they give us some ability to see what books are which. So if I put an enchanted book on there with a regular book, I'd like to know which one is the enchanted.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're going to have that shulker box problem of like, I've got 20 shulker boxes in front of me. Where did I put my iron? Like that kind of a thing. So if the books that are enchanted, I feel like there might be the ones with the red ribbons. It could be like a subtle pixel thing. But it doesn't. I mean, I don't want them to have the enchantment blend. Don't get me wrong. But yeah, I think I think you need to be able to tell which is a book and quill, which is a book, and which is an enchanted book, from the pixel art that they give you, and it looks fairly random. Like they just have a couple different colors, but I don't see a consistency among them. Well, maybe I guess there's a couple of bottom rows that look like it's the same.
Yeah, there's an applied texture. People in chat are correcting me here, and they are right to do so. It seems like when you're interacting with them, you can't edit the individual, like which one you're looking at. It does seem to be like a last in first out kind of thing. So if I repeat the footage here, I should be able to reset this. It's stopped for some reason. Yeah, if you take a look at you're taking the last book out of the bookshelf and putting it back, and it becomes that last book in line, and then looking at the bottom right-hand corner here, they're taking the books out one by one like that. So it does seem to be...
Right,
yeah. It does seem to be like you fill it up from the top left to the right, and then the bottom row gets filled up left to right as well.
Yeah, no, that sort of makes sense. It looks like they are only going to be in Oakwood. That's what they've shown off, and that's what the existing bookshelves look like. So it makes sense that you can combine the older bookshelves with the newer ones. Something that we mentioned before, that it's cool that you can have empty bookshelves now that are actually bookshelves, not the side of a loom that a lot of people, including myself, use as an empty bookshelf. And so that's a cool feature. And of course, right after you mentioned it during the live presentation, they confirmed that a comparator can read the contents of it and then have a redstone signal based on what books are in it.
Yeah, and Tainmere in chat is saying they said the comparator shows which book you last interacted with, but I think it's more that it reads how full it is. So it goes, okay, if you've put a 5th book in, then of course the comparator signal increases. It sort of makes sense. They're not explaining it in the most direct way, but it does seem like that would be the case. Or maybe, again, this might be a prototype and they have other ideas for it, but I can't see the comparator outputting a different signal depending on which book you had taken, unless they've got a lot more complex stuff going on there.
No, to me, it's a capacity thing. It's how full is it? Between 1 and 6. Is your signal, because that gives the person controlling the comparator. You can give it something else, another vessel that has a certain amount in it, or another redstone signal, and then as soon as the redstone signal gets above 5, then your secret door opens, or as soon as it goes below 3, or like whatever it is that you need to do, which is cool because you could potentially have it go both ways. You can take the 5th book off the shelf to open the door, and then when you're inside, put that book on a bookshelf inside that then shuts the door behind you, because you've increased that bookshelf. And I mean, that it's really cool. Everybody wants that pull a book, enter the secret door.
Yes, that alone is selling people on this, I'm sure. And if that's not your bag, then take a look at the textures, because you've got a top texture and a side texture, which are the same color as Oakwood, which is also the same color as we said, like manufactured player-made beehives. The kind of cardboard box approach, and having a few of these around diversifies floor designs, diversifies wall designs, storage, units and that kind of thing. Like, you can do a whole variety of stuff. And if anything, I think the fact that you don't know what the book is unless you take it off and take a look at it is going to encourage people to implement the Dewey Decimal System in their storage, which is probably going to really be a fun thing for the library scientists out there. Yeah, totally. Do we know if the top texture and the bottom texture are the same? The left and right and back are probably the top is different. I don't have a great picture of it here, but the side looks like the 6 individual slots just almost filled in with Oakwood, and the top has a kind of the Apple command key, that kind of, I think it's called an octothorpe. That kind of it looks sort of like that to me. So almost like.
But what I mean is, does the bottom look the same as the top? Do we know?
The bottom, I have no idea. I presume it's the same as the top, just because that's how those blocks tend to go. But you never know.
Well, talk about a super secret key to your door. It's like if you've got a whole ceiling full of these things and only you know which one is connected.
Right?
You could very easily. People wouldn't even necessarily look at it like a bookshelf, in terms of the secret entrance.
Yeah, that's got a lot of opportunity to it. I like the redstone potential of it, but I also just think it's a fun detail, and people have wanted a different type of bookshelf for a while. You find that shows up in mods and texture packs and stuff all the time, with bookshelves being given some more diversity. So it's really nice to see that we not only have a new type of bookshelf texture, but we have one that's modifiable based on how many books you want to fill it with.
So looking at something that they mentioned very briefly, it didn't show anything on. They did bring out Chi Wong, who is a 3D artist on the game, and they were talking about the animations that he's worked on, the Warden, the frog walk cycle, some of the best animation that we've seen in Minecraft recently. And I kind of wonder, and this is pure speculation, because of the fact that he was the specific person they brought out on stage to talk to, I wonder if we're going to get some updated animations on some existing mobs, you know, because we've got a lot of moving things, like the camels got flappy ears. Like, I kind of wonder whether things like pigs and horses and other animals in the game might be getting a little bit of a refresh. I'm hoping more so for mobs. Like, I mean, friendly mobs are fine, passive mobs are fine, but the hostile mobs, I think, are the ones that could use a bit of an uptick because of how much appeal they have in Legends and they have in these animated shorts that they do for trailers. I wonder if they might be looking at updating things like zombies and skeletons and things that we see an awful lot, because that is I don't want to say simple task, but it is an update to an existing feature that would make Minecraft feel very fresh to people that have been around for a long time.
Especially with it having to fit in with the frog animation and the camel animation. Like, it's they're kind of putting some of the older mobs to shame with the amount of detail that gets added to them. I mean, even look at the piglins with the kind of flappy ears that they have now, and the update that they made to zombie pigmen as a result, that they had to become zombified piglins, and that gave them a bit more personality. They've got one missing flappy ear now, and like there's a bit of that has been refreshed. So I wonder if it would take them adding like a different type of sheep or something to really have to bring that up to par, or whether they would consider doing it as its own thing in this update.
I'd like to see them revisit. I mean, I think the goats put the sheep to shame just in terms of how they look. They still look like Minecraft, but they just look so much more modern in terms of just how much detail they're willing to add, you know? And I feel like they could do that with a few things. I don't think they're going to revisit any of the textures per se. For example, the creeper, they're probably never going to touch the creeper because it's so iconic in all of their marketing. However, they could make it walk different, and I think it would still be fine. You know, like I'm just suggesting animation changes, but any kind of model changes would be welcome as well, especially if they get into something like, you know, we've seen them hint at, you know, things like the woolly cow and stuff like that in the past, and I'd be on board for that.
Yeah, for sure. Let's see what else I have in the deck here. That's basically it for vanilla Minecraft, because of course we know that they haven't announced a huge amount of features for it, but again, that's because they're holding back on some of the stuff that they're going to release later once they have a few more of the aspects of it locked down. So we'll briefly talk about Minecraft Dungeons. I don't think there's a huge amount for either of us to say here. We have the Fauna Fair coming out in October, I believe, at the end of next week, maybe, or
October 19th.
The 19th, so like Wednesday. Yeah. Okay, so that's coming up really soon. They have a Halloween event planned. I haven't played Dungeons since the end update and the first raft of seasonal adventures because I just don't have the time to dip in anymore, but it seems like they're still, you know, happy with the Dungeons ecosystem. They're not canceling development of new stuff. It seems like it's still getting a decent amount of players through the door, so hopefully that's something that they're happy with and are going to continue for a little while.
Yeah, I mean, I only tried the tower once or twice. It was an okay experience, but I think bringing in the 2 to 4 players in the towers is the biggest news out of Minecraft.
Yeah, definitely.
For folks that are still playing it, that's probably the best place or the biggest update. I mean, the spooky stuff I know is fun, and the seasonal. I think that's the advantage of Dungeons, is that they can do these seasonal events that you see in so many other games, and I feel like it's something that they can take advantage of. I mean, October and Halloween is perfect for Dungeons. It's just it's really something that works well there. I haven't played the game in a while, but I do like how colorful and fun it appears to be, and if it at all bleeds over into Legends and vanilla Minecraft, then that's just a win for everybody, right?
And speaking of Legends, we saw a lot more of an extended look at Legends than what we've seen previously, even with the dev diary starting to come out and a bit more information about gameplay. I think including live gameplay in the show was such an important step in people
100%,
understanding what this game looks like to play, instead of just the curated looks at it that we've had in some of these previous, you know, looks at the game. And I think the cinematics that they've crafted for it all look amazing. I like the fact they did a custom cinematic with Jeb, even though that was like
really fun.
Yeah, introducing the new characters and stuff, and those sort of the 3 host characters who are going to be guiding you through that. When they said, like, these are the hosts and their names are, like, Knowledge, Action, and they're kind of these otherworldly seeming beings, my first thought was, like, I wonder if these are related to whatever has written that end poem when you jump through the end portal after beating the dragon, and it says, you know, I see the player you mean, and you're sort of hearing these almost like thoughts in your head, and it's talking about concepts that you're too young to understand and that kind of stuff. And you kind of think they have this ethereal beings of knowledge kind of vibe to them that like ties in with the mythic ideas of Minecraft Legends, but also feels tied into vanilla game in that way too.
Yeah, I mean it's inventive and a little weird, but like I mean, sure, you go through the blue portal to meet with your mentors and your guides, and the purple portal is where the bad guys come out and all that kind of stuff. I like the way that they did that, and I like the very diverse shapes and voices and stuff. Like I remember we both reacted to this giant hulking host that has like a kid's voice that just like a little person's voice comes out of it. It's kind of like skewing what your expectations are, and I think it's interesting that I think also because of the way that they're named with foresight, knowledge, and action, I feel like it's going to be a faster paced game than your average RTS, which is why they're calling it action strategy. And I think that there's gonna be a lot of just like kind of run in and queue up your folks and like see how it goes rather than just hanging back. I don't think that anybody that plays RTS is like a tank are probably not gonna have that gameplay style work out for them very well, because from the look of it, it looks like the piglins are meant to overwhelm with numbers. And it's your job to take a few units. You're not going to have armies of hundreds. You're going to have armies of like 6, 12 maybe, depending on what you've got. Like one horde of zombies seemed to have like 6 units in it. You had to summon in creepers one at a time. I think they brought in 2 golems. What was it? It was this. What's the forge? It was a forge golem. No, what were they called?
There's a grindstone golem.
Grindstone golem. That's what it is. Yeah. So they brought in 2 of those, 2 creepers, and then like a handful of zombies, and that was kind of it. And then they handed it off to somebody else. And I thought it was interesting that the allays, the building allays, were building on the battlefield. Like you were building strategic stuff, like cross a bridge here to get closer to the enemy's, core structures. You could build a defensive structure to hide behind. Like I thought that was kind of interesting as well, and very fast paced. Like the allays that we saw taking down those trees, that wasn't taking ages.
Definitely.
And the movement across the map was bananas.
You're talking like not quite like Breath of the Wild style movement, but it's like you've got an open world, you've got to traverse it quickly to get to the point where your objective is. You've got like a compass along the top that's showing you where things are and signposting either cool stuff for you to find, or that's where the piglin base is, or this is where you can spawn in your own guys. And it seems like that's based on the amount of resources that you can gather, right? So it seems like there's a bit more of a Minecraft flavor to the actions that you can perform, but then the combat is going to be so different, the unit management is going to be so different, and I think that's a really neat way of controlling it. They've got like the banner that you use to muster things around you from a certain radius, and maybe there'd be power-ups for that, so the radius gets bigger and you can get stuff in from a broader area. And then the loot that helps you control the allays. I thought that was a really nice touch, the fact that they've got music being the thing that helps you control allays, but you're riding around on the back of a horse with this stringed instrument going aha as you're like running into battle. You said like the D&D bards are just gonna love it, and I'm like I entirely agree.
The game has got a lot of personality and a lot of humor, which I think is good, because there was some violence that I was not prepared to see. Like it's not like gory or anything.
The piglin like spearing a rabbit with a blaze rod or whatever it was.
That was hilarious. Don't get me wrong, I loved it, but I was not expecting it from a Mojang trailer. Like they're usually a little bit tamer, but I like the it's like silly aggression is the best way to describe it from the piglins, and they're not the smartest, but they're just aggressive and in their actions. And I also like the fact that they outlined that there's different hordes of piglins, and I thought that they were actually talking about units, but it turns out that there's like different kinds. Factions, and we've not seen them all. We saw regular piglins, I think, in some previous footage, and the ones that were featured in this particular gameplay footage were spore piglins, and it looks like they were taken over by warped fungus. So some of the big ones had like warped fungus, either backpacks or growing out of their back. And even in the trailer here that you've got running on the channel, you can see some Nylium spores kind of growing out of the shoulders of some of the bigger units, which I think it just adds a lot of flavor. And
Sorry, go on.
No, I'm just gonna say from an animation character design perspective and from a video game perspective, when you have to look through the chaos of what's happening on screen, because I found it hard to follow, having not played the game, being able to spot those problem units, like if that is a really powerful unit that's gonna mess with you, and it's got bright blue spores in its back, you need to know, like take that guy out first, right? And I think that kind of design is both fun and adds a lot of character and whimsy to the game, but also kind of helps with like telegraphing strategy.
In terms of the factions, there's a shot in the trailer that I wanted to highlight. It's coming up right now where there's a bunch of piglins here. Like around this map, there's like the four bigger looking guys, and one of them's clearly in charge because he's like swiping stuff out of the other's hands. But one of them has the fungus growing on him. There's another one who's like sitting on something. It looks like he has like wither skeleton parts, like shoulder pads and a belt and stuff. So I'm wondering if those are like the three faction bosses, and there are like three smaller factions, and then like the big guy comes through with either a fourth faction or just with all of them at once. And you have to kind of adapt your play style to like, okay, now I know how to handle the little spore piglins and like what each of them does in terms of their attack style. How do I manage all of them coming at me and them joining forces and that kind of stuff?
Mm-hmm. And you mentioned too that some of the hoglins were massive units. Like they had really big units on the battlefield, and the dynamic of everything that was going on, the animation and the way that things are happening. I mean, they obviously had it be a very quick fight just for the demo, but I'm curious to see how things, like how do you rally when things go wrong? Right? Like that's the key part of these games. Like if things go wrong and you just lose, that's not going to be super fun. It's like if things go wrong and you can find a way to maybe take a little bit longer, but get back in the fight and eventually win. I think that could be key to how this feels, when you're actually playing it. And co-op is fun. The fact that it was, up to a 4-player co-op, I think you said, then that's great.
Yeah, they had 4 people on stage playing it, and they cut to different perspectives towards the end once one guy had shown you, like, this is what I'm doing to rally all of the mobs around me and collect resources and then go to the place where the action is happening. So, like, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what kind of length campaign it has and like how the gameplay varies, and then beyond that, if it's successful, whether they have expansions planned further down the road. Like if they're planning on adding more missions to the campaign, if they add another faction, what happens with multiplayer, what happens with PvP if they do that. Like I think they have said that they are including PvP somewhere, so like there's going to be some interesting dimension to that. There's going to be a lot more depth than I think people are seeing on the surface here.
And randomly generated maps, like that's huge.
Procedural generation, like we're used to from Minecraft. So it does feel like the Minecraft world that we know, but it's going to mean that every time you play a level of a campaign, it's going to feel different. That's amazing.
And if it's the same with PvP, then like you're not going to just be like, well, this is the map and this is the one strategy or the 2 strategies that I have to use on this map in order to win. It's like, I don't know this map. You have to be adaptable, which I think is way more interesting. It removes a lot of meta gameplay from PvP for sure.
Yeah. Sticks and Thrones is saying, I just wish it was compatible for same screen couch co-op. Probably not, though. I would assume not, on account of like the amount of stuff that's going on screen, like the amount of UI stuff in strategy games. You're going to find that there's too much. I mean, even Minecraft Dungeons had its issues playing couch co-op, because if one player opened their inventory, the other player couldn't see what was happening on the screen. Like even in split screen, that became a problem. So I think there's certain issues with it that I just don't think are compatible with Legends, unless they'd maybe come back with an update that allowed it later.
You'd have to have something like a Switch and an Xbox, or a Switch and a PC.
Yeah, and
my guess.
There are multi-console households out there, like, obviously some people aren't that fortunate, but there's definitely ways you can do that. And yeah, like you could have like a LAN party kind of thing. Like that's everybody brings their Switch over to the house, and hopefully this game works better on Switch than Dungeons did, and can potentially have a bunch of players all together. So yeah, I wonder. I think we'll probably have to call it there, just so we don't take up too much of our time, and there's a lot more to talk about. There's a lot more that we'll talk about on Monday's episode of the Spawn Chunks podcast, so please do tune in for that. Anywhere you find your podcasts, look for the Spawn Chunks, or find us at thespawnchunks.com. We're also on Patreon if you feel like chucking us a couple of quid to support the show. always very much appreciated. You get access to our Discord, where people are no doubt discussing these features and the announcements from today in great detail. But it's a fantastic community. It's always growing, and we'd love to see some more people hopping on board. Joel, while we still got you, where can people find you online if they want to see more of you?
Everything is at Joel Duggan. It's right underneath the video of me here. That's my Twitter, Instagram, Twitch. It's all the same. JoelDuggan.com, a link to the other podcasts that I do, the Citadel Cafe, as well as other social stuff. But Twitch is the main hang outside of when I'm on the podcast with Johnny. And I normally stream weekends. I don't know if I'm going to get to a stream this afternoon. I may be able to throw something up later tonight. But definitely tomorrow. Tomorrow at 1 o'clock Atlantic. That's UTC -3. You can find me on twitch.tv/JoelDuggan.
Awesome stuff. Yes, I'll be streaming Dungeons & Dragons with the 8-Bit community tomorrow, so I'm not going to be streaming on this channel, but hopefully this stream has made up for it, and I've had an absolute blast. Looking forward to more exciting stuff being released, more news throughout the rest of the year, and as we move into 2023, the updates are just beginning for 1.20, and sooner or later we'll find out what they've called it. So until then, folks, thank you so much for tuning in for this stream. I hope you have a good one, and as we say on the Spawn Chunks, stay chunky.